Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It is Friday the 16th of August. I should have been more prepared knowing the date, surely. Friday the 16th of August, Tottenham Hotspur kick-off in 3 days. And it's a great day. We've signed another teenager, guys. So all of the staff at the creche have got more work to do. Their jobs are safe for a few more years. Look, I'm joined today by Danny from Hotspur Hood and by James Flower. Lads, how are we doing? Nice Friday night so far?
Yeah, mate. Can't complain.
Good. Good. And you both watched the Premier League start, Man United v Fulham?
3/4.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I didn't see the goal. I didn't see their goal. I literally just missed it.
Yeah, to be fair, they should have scored a couple in the first half. And to be fair, I mean, I think it was Garnacho, missed an absolute open goal at the end, so it should have been clear. But look, it wasn't a vintage performance from United, but they'll be happy. They've started the season with a win, clean sheet, and I think Man United had the most shots against them last year in terms of attempts on goal. And I don't really remember too many tonight from Fulham, so I think they'll be pretty happy with that. But listen, we're not Man United fans, as far as I'm aware. We are Tottenham Hotspur fans. Guys, I don't want this show to be doom and gloom, but look, again, it's been another day, lads, where, and big up to everyone in the chat, by the way, smash the like button, please subscribe if you haven't already. We're counting down the days till we get to 13,500, so please do smash the like button and subscribe to Dan E in the Hotspur Hood as well. We've only got 45 likes, get that to 100, and if one of my mods would be so kind to stick at the Hotspur Hood's link into the chat so that people can subscribe. Guys, look, it's another day, another signing where, again, for me, and you guys might feel differently, for me, I think it just shows the absolute chaos that is our fan base. You've got fans who are like, oh my God, this boy's brilliant, and he's got the most dribbles in the top 5 leagues for his age, or blah, 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 blah. He's brilliant. Look what Vincent Company said about him, and oh my God, he's amazing. And then you've got other people who are like, oh, what, another teenager. Like, what are we doing? James, let me start with you. Where are you at with all of this? Because lots of people at the beginning of the summer were talking about big names coming in, talking about first team starters coming in and how we're going to close that gap and try and challenge. It hasn't really materialized, but now they're losing their minds over more teenagers. Where do you sit with this whole buying teenagers upon teenager upon teenager? What do you make of it, mate?
I don't read into the fact if they're a teenager or if they're a 35-year-old, like, as long as they're good enough. And this is the thing. I don't get how people are saying, oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread. It's the same with that Bergvall, to be honest. I've got people saying left, right and centre, oh my God, he's going to be the next. Based on what, 90 minutes of football? Like, realistically, what's he played? 2 halves of a friendly. I'm not saying he looks terrible, because he doesn't. But what do you want me to do? Like, it's just. I don't understand. Like, how can I judge him when I know nothing about him? I'm not going to be falling into the category of, oh my God, the most dribbles for a teenager. You know what I mean? Well, we won't include Salah in that and Saka, and we'll just do the teenagers. You know. But I suppose when you've been deprived of something for so long, and you actually get something, you feel like you've got something.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, Dan, look, I know your opinions on most things, I think, by now. But when you saw the news today, I don't know if you're the same as me. I saw it come through from it wasn't a Romano or an Ornstein. It was from I believe it was from an Italian journalist. And then about 20 minutes later, it just filtered through on Spurs Official. What was your first thoughts when you saw that we'd signed Odobert from Burnley?
I didn't even know we had until about 3 o'clock this afternoon when my mate messaged me and told me. And I was like, what's happened there? I was oblivious to it.
Can I add one more thing to that? You know what makes me laugh? How everyone's now going, yeah, this is Lange. He works undercover. No one knows nothing about playing. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe he does, but like I say, I've been walking all day around bloody fields and everything with the wife and that, and like I say, I just got a message out of nowhere and heard about it. When I got back, checked up on the player. I mean, I won't say I knew about him, I didn't. But again, I can put a film of us three up on YouTube and that and make us look good at football, for God's sake. It's not hard to do it in a film as such, to put it together. And we need players for now. But then with like what James said, there's plenty of players out there who are 18, 19 who are ready now. It's just, they're ready now as such, if you get what I mean. This one, just by the videos I've seen of him and whatever, he interests me. And he interests me a lot more than Archie Gray. Reason being, the issue I have with Archie Gray, and I hope he's good. I think he's going to be good. But at 40 mil, and he's never even played top class football, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas at least with this fella that we've gone and spent, 25, 30 mil on him, some are saying 35, whatever it is, yeah? At least he's done a season in the Premiership and played 29 goals and worked his way up to French under-21s. 23s. Only know that because I checked it up. He looks interesting. He looks quick on the ball from the videos I've seen, and he actually looks like he's got ball control and can actually dribble that ball, unlike any other forward we have. Because no one else can dribble that ball. The best any of them can do is knock it past someone and sprint past them. He actually looks like he's got ball control. He actually looks like he can run with it. I'm quite interested in him, I must admit. And the fact, like I said, the fact that he's played 28 or 29 games, whatever it is, in the Premier League, I can deal with that better than going and spending 40 million on someone that no one had ever really heard about until he had a good game against Chelsea and has never even played top class football, basically.
Yeah. I mean, can I ask? I mean, guys, for me, I listen, and again, I need to make this really clear because look. You can understand that the bigger your YouTube channel gets, the more abuse you get. That's natural, right? And the bigger your YouTube channel gets, the more comments you wake up to every day. Like if I put a post out, it used to be that I get 30 comments and you'd be like, I can respond to everyone. And my problem is I try and respond to everyone now and there's sometimes like 500-600 comments, right? And the reason I say that is a lot of the comments I've got is where people haven't really listened to what I've said, right? So they hear what they want to hear. My issue isn't as such with Odobert, right? Like Odobert could, for all we know, James, as you said, like in 2 years' time, Odobert could be the best winger in the league. I don't know, right? My problem is that it just seems like incorporating what Dan said, it just doesn't ever feel like it's for now. And for me, I went through this with Irish Dave and we did a stream earlier. And I said, look, when you look at these players, lads, sorry to cover your face there, James. People be happy that mine's covered. Is when you look at that as a window, and I'll chuck Bergvall in because I know he was bought in January, but he's just come. From those 6 footballers, only one automatically goes into the 11, if I'm not wrong, lads. Like you can make an argument that Bergvall might start or that Gray might start, but factually, the only one that comes straight in out of all 6 of those signings, and you go, right, that has definitely strengthened the first 11, is Solanke. That's where I think it's quite concerning, James. It's not that it's Odobert, right? I've got nothing against him. I hope he ends up being Young Player of the Year. Brilliant. My worry is, will he get starts? That's same with Gray, same with Bergvall, same with Mikey Moore. Will they get starts? And B, why is it constantly kids? Like, why are we not going for anybody with any senior experience that closes that gap to the Liverpools, the Cities? And I'm not saying winning it, but closes the gap, James. Why are we not doing that at all?
Yeah, no. Again, like I said, for me, it's not about age. If you're old enough, you're good enough. That's how I look at things. So people like I wanted my number 1 striker was a Pender. That's who I wanted in.
Got to laugh, man. You got to laugh. What do you do, James? What do you do? I don't know. Savvy and nonce. All right, mate. Cheers.
Oh man, but yeah. I thought you just said you didn't like the kids, and I think he's got the wrong abbreviation.
Savva nonce, the one who's complaining about not buying more senior pros. You nonce! You nonce! Sorry, as you were, James, as you were. You got to laugh, mate. You got to laugh.
Yeah, for me, I think if you're young enough, if you're good enough, you're young enough. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If these three come in and tear it up, then I'm happy. That's why I refuse to have an opinion, good or bad, because I don't know. How can I sit here and go, yeah? One thing I don't do is what a lot of people do, where we sign somebody and they go, right, that's it. He's going to be the best defender in the league or the best midfielder in the league.
Yeah.
Now, I refuse to do that because I don't think it's fair. One, you're putting too much pressure on the young lad. Two, I haven't seen it. How can I say he's the best at whatever if I've never seen him play properly?
Yeah.
Even the videos of this winger. Don't get me wrong. He looks like he's got good feet, but not really in many of the videos is he rinsing free players and putting a ball in the back of the net.
Right.
No.
And this is the problem, James. For me, look, we can all watch videos. I've seen him play last year, and I'm not saying he hasn't got good footwork. I'm not saying he doesn't look tricky, but again, what's the output? And that's why judging younger players can be really difficult because one, they've not been around long enough to have loads of output, but equally, how can we then say he's brilliant? My question to you, Dan, if I come across to you is, will he start? Because we've bought a lot of wingers already in Ange's tenure. I mean, people will say Kulu isn't a winger. That's where he's played for 3 years in a Tottenham shirt. We've bought Solomon. He's a winger. Werner, he's a winger. Mikey Moore is coming through the youth. He's a winger. Richarlison can play out wide as well.
Timo.
Is he gonna get enough starts to make these sort of signings worthwhile?
I don't see how. The amount that you've named there, and I don't see how. Same as I don't see how Gray's going to do it, or even Bergville. But out of the friendlies, again, you can only judge on what you see. He's actually looked pretty sharp, I must admit. But that's a couple of friendlies we've seen.
Of course.
Who knows what's going to happen? But with the team there as it is, apart from us only buying one player that actually gets into that team, that actually walks into the team, the others are all ifs, buts, and maybes that we know nothing about that are 18, 19 year old. And like what James said, I agree. If you're ready, you're ready. If you're good enough, you're good enough. But we don't know nothing of them. And for the amount that we've just spent on these two, I mean, what is that? 40 mil and call it 30 mil. So it's like 70 mil. Surely couldn't that money been put elsewhere on a player for now who can literally walk in that team now and make a difference now, who we know on a say 75% chance they are going to walk in and make the first 11 better. Who knows? These three might be, but
doesn't this go back to the point though, Dan? And I'll bring you in on this afterwards, James. You hear me ask this a lot, and I'm sorry, James, I'm sure you've heard me say this. Again, it comes back down to what do we want to be? Right. So when people are saying to me, I'm seeing people in the chat saying he's better than Johnson and he'll start over Johnson and he offers something different to Kulu. I'm not doubting all that. But again, if we're just buying 18, 19-year-olds, I'm asking the question, what do we want to be? And what's the team frame, the time frame to get there? We're fifth at the moment. And I'm not, listen, if you finish fourth, fifth, sixth, it's all in and around the same. But to get with the big boys, what does that roadmap look like? And can you get to within touching distance of them buying kids when Arsenal are buying seasoned pros? Man City are Man City, right? Can we really catch up with these clubs with this approach, Dan?
Oh, not a chance in hell. Not in the next season. I think what a lot of us want to know is what is actually going on with Spurs.
Yeah.
Like what you said, what is actually our plan here? And like I think Alex puts it perfect. Like after a year of listening about it, he's right on what he said. Maybe if we actually just sat there and say, for instance, by January, he's really not doing too great, but Levy or someone bigger in the club was to turn around and say, we don't really care what you fans say, we're going to stick by this manager.
Yeah.
Like they basically, Arsenal did with Arteta. I think that would give a few of us a bit of a shock and a half of like, oh, okay, Maybe they've got an idea of what they want to do. Maybe they actually have a plan. Because at the moment, and over the past 24 years, 25 years now, basically, have you seen a plan of any sort? No. Except for maybe to get a young player in, hope he gets good and sell him. I just want to know what's going on and what we actually intend to do. And with buying young players like this, the problem is with it is by the time they start getting good, we still won't have won nothing. Our best players will have left. They're going to get options off bigger clubs and they're going to leave as well. This is where I think we're doing it the wrong way round. But it's opinion. I think we need players for now to get somewhere now to then start bringing the young ones through. Not bring the young ones in to then try and work your way up, especially when you've got Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Aston Villa, West Ham even, all putting players down for their first 11.
Yeah. And James, that's the point, isn't it? It's, as I said, if, you know, I get it. We've got a lot more games this season. Well, depending on how many Europa League games we play, but I believe it's a minimum of 8, right? We've definitely got, is it 8 this year?
I think so.
They changed the format, right? Okay. So we've definitely got 8 more games than last season, definitely, right? Because last year was really thin on the ground. I understand that players need to rotate, but I'm talking about when push comes to shove, James, when he has to put out his best 11, and we talk about all these kids and it's brilliant and the youth and blah. How many of these kids, realistically, James, do you think will be in his 11? And I'm not counting a doggy and Van der Ven. I'm not counting a doggy because he had 2 seasons in the Italian top flight. How many of these kids who are 18, 19, that have either come through our youth team or been bought, when push comes to shove, how many of them are starting in a best 11 for Spurs?
It's quite hard to say, isn't it, really? Because, I mean, again, if we've only seen these kids in pre-season, and to be honest, these kids in pre-season have been better than everyone in the first team or the so-called first team. Madison's been awful. Basuma's been awful. You know, they've all been shocking. So the kids all deserve to start if you're looking at pre-season. But the way I'd kind of word it is, I think Ange last season was trying to win over the board and the fans by saying, we're going to win this, we're going to push for this, blah, 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 blah. Because I've noticed a change in his demeanour. He's done a couple of interviews now where he said, I don't know what the quotes were, but it was something along the lines of, when you build a young squad, you can mould them into what you want to mould them into, and they can become whatever you want them to become, and blah, blah, blah. So I wonder if something's changed in the back end of, look, you're not good, and this isn't what we're going to do.
Flip-flopping? Is he just
or maybe he come out and said what they wanted to say, and he at the end of the season he said, look, this ain't working, I need X, Y, Z, and they said, well, no, you can't have that, and he's gone, we need kids then. So we need, okay, that's fair enough. Then forget all your ambitions. We're going youth then, if that's what you're planning. Because I just think the way he was talking last season, and I know the season hasn't started yet, but he definitely seems to be pushing kids are hungry. Even at the Euros, kids are hungry. Play the young kids. And I don't know.
But the thing is, people asked when he said that, a lot of people asked when he said that, you're talking about like the kids hungry, kids want to do this, yet you didn't bloody play them when you had the chance last season.
Well, that's what I was going to go on to. And look, this is the key thing. A lot of people are saying, oh my God, this is like when Poch came and he had a young Carl Walker and a young Danny Rose and a blah, 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 and a Dele Alli and an Ericsson. But the difference was Poch played them, right? My concern is with all this and all these people, I've got nothing wrong. If people want to go down a youth route, look, I'm old and ugly, right? I've been there, seen it, done it. Yeah, I'm bored of hearing about this type of project and this type of project and this route and that route. I'm bored of it, yeah? So whatever we call it, nothing excites me. I know that's terrible to say, but it doesn't because I've seen nothing work. If we turn around and went, we are going down this youth route, right, guys? And he starts Archie Gray, Bergval, and Sarr in midfield, and he sells Bentancur and Basuma. You go, cool, all right, that's what you want to do. And then we see, okay, right, you're going to get rid of Son now, he's old, and you're getting rid of a Richarlison, and you know now going to have a young striker up there instead. Fine, Ben Davis goes, so Ashley Phillips is your backup. Sure. Now I'm sitting there going, cool, you want a youth team, but we're not doing that, guys. What we're doing is we're playing the first team of not young players, I'm not saying they're all old, but we're not playing any of the kids, then just buying kids and saying, oh my God, we're going down a youth route. So are we? Are we going down a youth route, or are we just buying a lot of backups, rotation players that are kids? That's my question.
I think that Daniel Levy, likes to spin the wheel a lot. So this kid's £20 million. He's got all the potentials to be a 60 million, 70 million pound player. So I think he kind of tries to get in those guys with potential, but slightly higher price. Whereas before we've been bitten by paying top dollar for the likes of Ndombele and so on and got nowhere. So I think he's almost been bitten, and he's now thinking, well, they're young lads, they're going to be hungry. Hopefully I'm not going to get bitten like I was before, and push that side of things, because let's face it, it's all about money with him, isn't it?
Of course. But I mean, Dan, do you see where I'm going with this? I mean, I feel like we're praising a youth fruit without having a youth fruit. Am I making sense in what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying, because it's something that I think quite a few of us spoke about last season, like where he had several chances where he could have brought on Donnelly or whoever you want to say, for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, here and there sort of thing. I get you don't just drop them into the middle of it sort of thing, unless it's a necessity or you think they're 100% ready. But he didn't even do that. He put them in there here and there for like, 2 minutes here or 5 minutes there sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he just seemed to do, even when he was at the point where we had injuries left, right and centre, he was at the point where he'd rather go and take this game for Liverpool example, where he goes and puts Chicken Royale on the left. Why? If he was so that we've got youth players, why didn't he take a left wing back out the youth team and just try him there? You know what? You're not going to get grilled for it. Just do what you can do, mate. And I think the fans would have looked at him and said, all right, bit of a crazy game to do it, but we all know Chicken Royale's crap and he ain't going to do it. So you've tried a youth player there. And I think you'd have got a bit of leeway for it as such. But it's right what you're saying. You don't know whether you're coming or going with it at the moment, because he's talking about youth and it looks like we're going a youth way as such, but he had a perfect chance to use quite a few of the youth and didn't. I mean,
I had a little search earlier I sat down and went through all of the minutes, the appearances that the players had last year. Now, bearing in mind, this was a year in which people want to hang on to injuries as though no other club ever had them. This is a year where we have players going to the Asian Cup and people going to the African Cup of Nations. This was a year where we only had one game a week. And a year where people would have been more sympathetic and empathetic to him giving youngsters a chance. Of all the players at the club, do you know how many people who are teenagers made appearances for Tottenham last season?
No.
Have a guess.
What, one?
Mikey Moore made 2 sub-appearances, right, in the last 3 games of the season.
Did Donnelly play?
Jamie Donnelly made 3 sub-appearances in the last 5 or 6 games of the season.
For a couple of minutes here and there, wouldn't it?
And they're the only teenagers that got a sniff. You had Will Lancashire, who banged in 23 and 23 in the under-21 league. And even when Richarlison was injured and Sonny was at the Asian, this guy couldn't even get put on the bench. So I'm going to bring something up. I'm going to show you it. And you guys might completely disagree with me here, but this is my thing. I get people going, they're talking about a youth fruit as though this is what we're doing. And I don't think we are. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Sorry if it goes over. Actually, it should just push us to the side. Right. So what I've done there is I've just selected, Solanke should be there, but they haven't updated Solanke into the Spurs squad yet on this app. So just assume that one with no name is Dominic Solanke. If I said to you guys, right, and bearing in mind, forget Basuma's incident. If I said to you guys that this is Spurs' strongest 11, give or take, Johnson could be in that, right? Or Sarr for one of them, you wouldn't, or would you disagree with me too much if I was to say that's the 11?
Yes, the 11.
Right. Okay. So my question is, right, straight away, from that, They were all there last year other than Dominic Solanke, right? So for me, I'm looking and going, right, of all these brilliant kids that you've brought in, how many of them walk into that 11?
I think obviously he's trying to sort of play like devil's advocate, if you like.
Yeah, sure.
I think if Basuma and Bentancur carry on how they carry on, then Ange would look an idiot not to play Bergvall and Gray, because if they did, them two were shocking. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Bentancur come back from an injury, but Basuma, there was no excuse. He was absolutely turd. So
he ain't going to play for a few games anyway. He's been suspended.
No, but things like that, though, I think people would have gone, okay, there was no one really to sort of push them. Not that, again, I don't know anything about these kids, but I think after 2 or 3 bad games or bad results, people would start demanding and like forcing his own hand to change. I mean, for all we know, they might all start. We think this is what we could be doing, but he could be playing Gray and Bergvall and dropping both of those. We don't know yet. I doubt it.
But do you know how we know this? And again, James, this is the thing. I get it, right? I get people, like even you did this earlier on, right? You said Spurs young players have been the best players in pre-season. When you asked, why have we just lost 200 people viewing in 10 seconds? Am I going mad? Or I just see that. We had 500 in the house. It's just gone to 279. Anyway, never mind. If we break this down, though, we're saying that the youngsters were the best in pre-season. The youngsters always came on in the second half where the other team changed their team as well. And they always came on when they were playing together. Even in pre-season, James, Ange didn't start any of the kids. He wouldn't even give the kids a start in pre-season.
Or give Phillips a start when there was no bloody defender.
Exactly. He wouldn't, like Mikey Moore didn't get one. Mikey Moore, oh, sorry, YouTube's playing up. Is it? Okay, I get it. Right. Mikey Moore didn't get, we're hearing this guy is generational. This guy's brilliant. Not once did Ange say, do you know what, Brennan Johnson, you don't need to play every single friendly. I know what you can do. Right. Mikey Moore, you play. Right. Not once did he say, right, Kulu's playing a false 9. We know what Kulu can do. Lancashire, go on, you start this game. Son's played every game. Son, start on the bench. Donnelly, you go and play left wing. Not once did he do that, James, in pre-season. I watched Man City in pre-season, Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa, all of these clubs played their kids in pre-season. We didn't start them once.
No, could he be playing them all together because they know how to play together? Could that be a factor? Could it be like those days were the under 23s, so he's trying to keep them together? Could that be sort of like an option? Not that I agree with it. I'm just saying, could that be?
Shouldn't he be mixing them though with the first team?
Yeah,
right. Playing with
I
the
agree.
First team?
Yes, I do agree. But I'm just sort of trying to see from his point of view, or trying to give his, like, you know, could he be saying, you know, Mikey Moore is 16, right? We'll put him with Donnelly because they always play together, or Will Lancashire, they've played all season together, or just
I get
to
that,
see how they react in the full stadiums, the pressure. Could it be like, I don't know. I'm just sort of trying to see that from both sides.
I agree with you, James, but I think the difference is you know that would never happen in a game in the league. It would never be all these kids starting together. That's
Agreed.
why I didn't get when everyone was absolutely hyping up and praising. Like, let's be fair, James. We have seen videos, right? We have seen videos from content creators talking about a Spurs youth factory. Spurs are churning out the best youth players in world football. I'm sitting there going, okay, why isn't he starting a single one of them? Why? Right? Why isn't he starting a single one of them if these players are all generational? And that is why I'm saying, I'm not knocking that, by the way. I'm not saying you have to start with your kids. But the way I'd answer it is, you tell me the last time we sold a youth player. If they are generational, when was the last time we sold a youth player and brought in any good money for a youth player? If they are that good, when was the last time a City come in and went,
player that good?
But that's what I mean. But if we're going by what fans are saying, and this is why I don't get carried away with the Bergvalls and the Gray. I'll see with my own eyes what happens. people said about Sonny Supbell. Well, I haven't seen no £7-8 million, £5 million bids come in to say, you know what, we're going to give this guy a crack. So this generational talent that's worth nothing to anybody, for me, I'll see it when I've been through so much. I see when I believe it. When you show me that it's real, it's real.
I agree. And by the way, people in the chat saying, any positives? This isn't a negative. We're just talking about this youth system. Dan, look, do you see where I'm coming from, right? I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not sitting there saying that none of the kids should ever get into this 11 that I've put on the screen. I'm not saying that at all. Listen, I'd be all for seeing Odobert, Mikey Moore start on the right wing on Monday night. I would actually give Ange so much praise if against a newly promoted team, and let's be brutally honest about this, right? Let's be brutally honest about this. Leicester are shocking. Leicester are in a mess. I've been speaking to a couple of Leicester fans today, right? They are all saying we're relegated. Like we've done nothing in the window of note. We've let go of our best players. They're going into Monday night's game, guys, with no striker. They've got no striker at the moment. Vardy's injured. Patson Daka is injured. So they're going to have to play a false 9. I would really rate it, Dan, if we turn around that first game of the season, you went, you know what, Mighty Moore's playing on the right wing. I would say fair enough. You are going to play the youth. But you and I both know, clip this, you and I both know, come 7 o'clock Monday night when he puts out the team, I bet you, other than Basuma, who can't play, replace him for Sarr and possibly Kulu Johnson, this is going to be the 11 we play. And that will be the 11 he plays each week.
The thing is, you would go that far to bet a lot of bloody money on it. We all know things can happen in life, but it's the odds of it. I'm 100% with you on that. You can pretty much put that team you've just put there is what he's going to start, bar Basuma. But again, if the bit I go back to is last season. Last season was meant to be his season where he could come in and pretty much do what he wants. Mess about with the team, mess about with the youth, mix it together, see who works best where, do what you want, make the mistakes, and then try and fix them as such. And he just seemed to do absolutely nothing last season when he had the perfect chance to do it. Barely change any tactics, barely change any players, anything. And okay, if we're going for the youth way, and this is the way we want to do it, then go and bloody do it. Then just go and do it. Yeah, it's going to wind a few people up when they're like, but we've already got qualified players there and everything else. I'd be one who'd think that way as well. But on the other side of it, if we are going for this youth system, which it's sort of being fed across that we are, then just bloody do it. Then just get on with it.
That's my point. That's my point, Dan. That's my point. And again, sorry, this guy, there is multiple streams of Savva moaning we didn't sign Fulkrog. This is not true. Again, context. This is not true. What I said was West Ham have gone and signed a very good striker for what they need. And at the time, we didn't have Dominic Solanke, right? So do not lie. And equally, here, where am I hating on the kids? I've literally just sat here and said, come on then. If the kids are as good as everyone says, if the kids are as good as Ange says, why don't any of them ever start? Let's be brutally honest, guys. Last year, we didn't have any of our first choice centre backs for about 4 games in a row. Did Ashley Phillips or Dorrington get a start?
No.
Did Ashley Phillips or Dorrington come on for 1 minute of those games?
And then would have been a forgivable time to do it. Like I said,
right.
You could have forgiven him for it. Like I said, with the left back thing, we might not have a left back youth good enough as such, but we all know that Chicky Moyal can't even handle it on his own side, let alone on the left side. I would have personally had that bit more sympathy is the wrong word. I would have had that bit more. Do you know what? Fair enough. You tried it. Didn't work, but you tried it. Instead of just, why are you putting Chicken Boy out there when you know he's not going to do it? I think he would have actually got a bit more respect, credit, sympathy, whatever word you want to use, off the fan base in general. Agreed. If you'd have seen him take a chance with something like that.
Agreed.
Even in the friendlies, he's the one who picks the players, or Levy, or whoever they bloody want to pick it. Why didn't he start Phillips? He's a centre-back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, James, let me ask you about that one. That was really strange in pre-season when Dragoshin, Van der Ven and Romero, none of them were there at the time. It was before Dragoshin turned up. And the first, was it 2 or 3 games of pre-season without those players? And he went with Skip and Gray at centre-half. If you're Ashley Phillips, first of all, surely you're sitting there going, hang on. Hang on. I can't get us game. Like, it was against Hearts and QPR. Hang on. I can't get a game against Hearts and QPR. And this is why, James, when everyone's talking to me about this youth, I need to see it. I need to see that the manager has actually got the balls to go, you know what? You've not been playing well. You're dropped. And I don't just mean Bergvall, who we bought, or Gray. I'm talking about all these youth players that everyone has praised to the hilt. Most of them have already gone out on loan. So, again, it's just getting a bit carried away about things, James.
And just to add to that, well, like you said about if say, for example, Mikey Moore or Bergvall was to start, if I was to see Gray, Bergvall, Mikey Moore, I would be so excited to actually tune into Spurs for once to see what's going to happen. Let me see what's going to happen. I'm really looking forward to this. Let's go, you know. But when we do play the same, Bissouma, I know he's not going to be playing, but Bissouma, Bentancur, Sarr, you're like, I know how this is going to end up. For me, I am all aboard these kids play. I'm all aboard getting all of them in. Sign all young kids. As long as they get their chance. If they're playing, then again, I'll make my own mind up. If they play and have 3-4 Tonkas in a row, then I'll be like, right, they're shit. I'm happy to say that. But let me see it first. So exactly the same as these people going, this guy's world class. Look, the class of 90s or whatever. I'm like, look, let me make my own opinion, not what you've heard Chinese whispers, Ali Gold reporting saying, oh, everyone's impressed with Archie Gray. Well, I should think so. It costs £40 million, you know. So I'll make my own mind up. I'm not a sheep. I'll make my own mind up.
Well, I mean, look, guys, I mean, this is a great comment from Jimmy Le Spurs. I really hope you are French. I really hope it's Jimmy Le Spurs. Agreed, right? Again, and this goes back to the point. We're signing all these youngsters, but then sign Timo Werner on loan. For me, don't sign Timo Werner. If you're going to go down that youth route, let the backup to Sonny be Odobert. Let the backup to Sonny be Donnelly. Why have we done that? Right?
You know what?
Is that fair?
And if he come out and said that, I would be like, fair play. Fair play, yeah. You've been offered Timo. You said, now I'm taking one of the kids. I would be like, you know what, Ange? I'm giving you another year. From that one thing. Because it's just preaching what you preach, isn't it? It's like acting how you say you're going to act. Don't say one thing and do another thing. And this is where I think, again, like I said earlier, Ange come in, stood on the hill and said, we're going to win the league. We're going to do this. Had a year with Daniel leaving, gone, shit, this ain't happening.
Yeah. But do you know the problem with that, James? And this is the thing. Listen, I've got nothing wrong, right? In any walk of life, if a manager, I don't know what you guys do for a living, but if your manager turns around and goes, guys, girls, this year is going to be the best year. We're going to smash company records. You're all going to make £1 million in bonus. We're all going to go, woohoo, yeah, we're on board. My worry is Ange did that at the end of the season. Then about a week later, his first signing was Timo Werner. Yeah. And since then, it's been all kids. Now, that's fine, right? But I was speaking to Irish Dave about this earlier. And if his aim as a manager, right, if his aim as the spokesperson of the club, because we don't have anyone else at the club come out and talk, do we? We have Ange.
No.
If his aim as the manager is, right, we want to win trophies, we're going to challenge for titles, I've got no problem with you saying that. Do you know when I have got a problem with him saying that, lads? Is then when I see the next 6 signings and only one of them is a proper first team player, right? So you're saying this over here, but your actions are down here. Do you know what I mean? They don't match. If you say, I want to win titles, and then your next 5 signings are, I don't know, a top-class centre-back, a top-class centre-mid, a top forward and a top winger, I go, Paul, you mean what you said. That's the problem for me, James. I feel like there's a mix of what he's saying versus the actions of the club. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about his interviews. I don't know who it was with, but it was a really good interview. How he didn't once bring up any of that. He spoke, I can teach the kids this, I can mould the kids this, we can do this. And I think that he's been fed loads of bull. My personal opinion is he's been fed loads of bullshit from Levy and said, right, this is where we're going to go. Top 4 this season, push on next season.
Yeah.
And I think he probably got to the end of the season and probably went, you said all these players are good, they're all shit. Like, we've just been battered the last 20 games. It ain't working, we need to change. And then that I'm just hoping that's the route he's gone. But like you said, if we get to that first game and it's that team that you've just put up, I will be like, I don't get what's going on.
Yeah. And look, Dan, I'll come to you. I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it. But be consistent. If the manager is going to say, look, we're going to take a few years here to get to what we want to get to, this is the route we're going to go down. Do you know what? It makes fans like me have to go, oh, well, I don't like it, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is. But I've got the manager saying at the end of last year, where's the fans' winning mentality? We want to challenge. I'm not here to finish 4th. Werner, Bergvall, Gray, Odobert. And again, those youngsters I mentioned could be bloody brilliant in a few years. He might not be here. So again, it doesn't match, right, Dan? It doesn't match the actions. It's like me saying to my wife, all right, don't worry, I'm taking us on a luxurious 14-night holiday. Don't leave it with me. It's going to be absolutely sensational. Leave it with me. I'm going to get that sorted. Then I turn up a week later and go, love, we're off to Butlins for a week. Right?
That's going down Hastings with a knackered caravan.
Right. Now, there's nothing wrong with going to Butlins for a week.
You snob.
Butlins is good. Butlins is good.
I've had some crazy stag do's in Butlins. But, do you see my point? He's coming out and saying winning mentality, winning titles, challenging. Then you're seeing the signings that is making most of the fan base go, patience, time, the kids will grow. This is the route we're going down. Why are they all saying something different to what the managers say? That's the only thing I don't get, Dan. I'm really confused.
I think this. Look, I think most of us know, and others just don't want to accept that even if he does play the youth and everything else in that, if he doesn't change some of his tactics, he's going to be gone. He'll be gone anyway. Yeah, because he's got to, like I've said, put the best team on the planet, they will still concede 40, 50 goals with the way he plays. But it's like you say, you cannot go to a club full stop, let alone a club like Tottenham that is so desperate, squeaking for any sort of success that you can get. That's like putting blood underneath a vampire's nose and then saying you've now got to become a vegan, basically. You just you can't go and do that to any fans, especially Spurs supporters. I want us going for a title next season. I want us to be winners. I want us to do this. And then we see Timo Werner coming in.
Exactly.
And then, I forgot he's done the Champions League and he scored against Madrid. Yeah, I forgot about that. And has done jack shit for 5 years. But apart from that, and then we see youth players come in, and some of them that have never even played in top football. 2 of them, Bergvall and Gray, have never ever played in top football.
Yeah.
Whereas the other fella we just got, Odobert, done a season at least in the Premiership. And you're like, well, hang on a minute. You're grilling us saying that we need to have more of a winning mentality. You're saying that we're going to go, you want to go for the title, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But then we're seeing you do this, this, and this. Is it that he's actually learned a lesson from what he did at the start? Or is it that he's just totally flip-flopping and he's bitten off more than he can chew? We don't know. But it doesn't exactly come across good, does it? Whereas if he was to now step in, like you said, and say, look, I know what I said at the start and everything, and that is still my ambition. I want to go for that title. But it's going to take me a bit longer than I thought. You're going to have to give me some trust to put this team together. You're still going to get people like me sit here and say, mate, fair enough, but unless you change some of your tactics, you ain't getting nothing. But at least it'd be a more realistic, a more connection with the fans, except I want to go for titles. I want to win this. And then we go and get Timo Werner twice.
In fairness, though, in fairness, I don't think it's fair that Ange comes out and says anything like that. I think the board should be coming out and saying, no, this is what we're doing. Because again, we're all blaming Ange now, or people are blaming Ange now. If Ange was told, look, like I said, we're going to aim for top 4, we're going to try and win the league, we're going to sign. Let's face it, if we go by the top so-called ITKs, we should have had Tony, Neto, and Eze. So if Ange was told the same thing, then I would say, yeah, we should be pushing along to the title if we've got Maddison's and Bentancur's in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if things have changed, why is it fair again? And this is where I would never blame Ange. I'll blame the board that he stands on that hill and goes, actually, now things have changed. It's not fair that we're now going to go down the kids route, because that's not down to him. He ain't got a say in that. That's all down to Daniel Levy, Lange, or Paratici when he was there. They should come out and say, listen, this is our philosophy now. We're going to play attacking football. We're bringing through the youth, and that is the way we're going to go. Not like Ange say we're going to win the league.
James? Do you know why they can't?
It's because they'll be mere defeat. They'll be saying to everybody that we've been saying for ages.
But again, what they'd be admitting is, hang on, you've got to remember in all of this, and this is where I think sometimes people need to take a step back. People are very quick to attack fans like me, right? But you've got to remember, 15 odd years ago, whenever it was announced that Spurs were going to build this super duper stadium, everything, again, I don't know how old you are, James. I'm sure you remember that time. And so I'm not patronising. I just think you look a lot younger than me. Take it as a compliment. Dan, sorry, mate, you're an old bastard like me. If we go back, sorry, mate, if we go back to those times, everything that was said, if we remember, was this stadium will allow us to compete, right? This stadium these are quotes from Daniel Levy, by the way. This isn't me. This isn't Richard Savva making it up. This stadium will allow us to compete. This stadium will allow us to compete with the best clubs in Europe. This stadium is a game changer, right? If they come out and turn around and go, right, we're going back to Project Youth, which is what, let's be fair, we've always been Project Youth, if you really want to break it down, right? He's admitting that, hang on, I've just sold everyone a great big fat lie. I've told everyone that the reason we're paying these prices to go into this stadium is because it's going to help us compete. And that's what I think when a lot of people who sit behind a keyboard and just go, oh, you're never happy. And, oh, it's Project Youth. Sure. But I'm old enough to remember when we had Project Youth 24 years ago. I'm old enough to remember when we had it 20 years ago. Dan's probably agreeing, right? I remember when we had Project Youth 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Now it's Project Youth, and people are making it out like we've never gone down this route before, lads. Yeah? Remember, we signed Brian Hill. And at the time, I remember saying, well, what's he being bought for? Where's he going to be played? At the time, the same fans that can't see past their Tottenham glasses, right, their rose-tinted glasses, oh, Savva, he's the best young player in Spain. What a coup. Spurs. 3 years later, oh my God, I can't believe it. If this guy starts for Spurs, he's Deadwood. He's got to get out. How many players of that ilk can you name? We're not going to name them all. How many players like that could you name from now back to when Daniel Levy first took over? I can think of so many kids that were either through the academy or bought that everyone, without knowing a lot about them or how they fit in, automatically did what they're doing with Odobert now, is go, boom, they're there. They're on that level. Boom, they're amazing. What a great signing. And I reckon 95% of them don't work out.
Even with Gareth Bale, after 15 games, where, what was it, something like 20 plus games that he played for us, we didn't win a single one of them. A lot of Spurs fans were saying, don't start this fella, get rid of him. And okay, he turned out to be one of the best players we've ever had and one of the all-time players ever, in my opinion. And it can happen, but people do change their opinions very, very quickly and go back and forth as such. But I can also understand why people would, because when you start seeing a change in things, like I'll go back to Ange on this one, if we start seeing a change in his tactics slightly, like we just said, instead, like we've said before, just one inverted wing back going forward and then make it free at the back, just like it looks like he's learning. Don't concentrate on the zonal marking. Then you're going to see people like, I'll answer for me, sit back and say, okay, he's learning. He's doing something. Okay. I'm more than willing for him to do the season now. Instead of if he changes absolutely nothing, I won't be disappointed if he's gone. You know, it's like James said earlier. You want to see things first. You got to see it to believe it. Not just hear it. Not just we're going to go for a title. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You want to actually see us do it, or try to at least. You want to actually see him learn and adapt to the Premiership. Not just sit there. Oh, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to. You need to see it to believe it.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
being a Spurs fan.
Exactly. And the thing that's made me laugh about the last two signings, I mean, I'm not putting Solanke in the young section because he's 26, nearly 27 in September.
It should be his peak now.
Yeah. But what makes me laugh about all this is these are players that no one mentions. And then when we buy them, all of a sudden you get, who would you have bought instead of him? And you're like, hang on. We signed him this morning. No one, I don't care what any of you guys say, right, in the chat. James, Dan, in all the shows you've been in, have you seen anyone, when asked about what winger they want, mention Odobert's name? Have you seen anyone say, you know who'd be great? You know who'd be good for Ange? Odobert at Burnley. We sign him and everyone, all the usuals start going, like I've got all the screenshots, all the usuals on X start going, this is a wonderful signing. I've loved this guy for years. His dribbling is up there with the best. And he, you know, if we give him a year, and you know, I'll ask this, James, I'll come to you. I'm going to show you this picture again, right? If I said to you two, forget that some of them are in Spurs shirts. If I'd said to you at the beginning of the summer, that is Fulham or Brentford's transfer window, be brutally honest with me, would you have doubted me?
No.
Right. So if I'd said to everybody on the, here you go, be honest in the panel, I'll know who's honest and who's not. If I'd said to you, right, guys, this is going to be our transfer window in the next 3 months, rate it. How many of those people that are absolutely gassing it up then would have gone, he wouldn't get in our team. He's not good enough for Spurs. Had Arsenal had signed Odobert, had Villa had signed him. Villa signed Philogene. Oh, God, he's rubbish. Who's this kid? Villa signed Morgan Rogers from Middlesbrough. Rubbish. He's not good enough for us. We sign an 18-year-old and they are brilliant. This is the best. And this is where I find it all so disingenuous, James. Every kid we sign is the best thing in the world. If they had gone to other clubs, we would be mocking them for that. That is not a good transfer window. I don't care what anyone says. That is not a transfer window of a club that has aspirations for Champions League football. There it is. Or even better, let's put it like that. Look at that. That you wouldn't. If I'd said to you, Odobert, Yang, Gray, Werner, Berg, no one would go, that is brilliant.
The other question is honest to God, how many people had actually even heard of Gray before he came to Spurs?
So
I only knew of him because of one game against Chelsea. That is the only time I'd ever heard or even knew about him.
Out of everybody there, Gray and obviously Solanke were the only two that I really knew, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've seen Gray a little bit because where I moved up to Norfolk, so obviously watched a little bit of Norwich, not massive, and you kind of hear bits and pieces, and he looked good. He did look good, but not good enough for a £40 million player. I didn't think he was that good. And Solanke, but again, what I would say is, I mean, even me, I've probably wrong, but I've lowered my expectations so much now. The question I'd like to ask is, I mean, when I think I've said it on this show or another show, when I was growing up, it was like, right, I want the new Spurs shirt because of David Ginola. Right, I want the new Spurs shirt because of Gareth Bale. I want the new shirt because of X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Well, I said to my son this year, I said, do you want a new Spurs shirt? He went, yeah, I really want it. I went, who do you want on the back? He went, no one. And he's 11. I'm like, what do you mean no one? He was like, no, not very good, are they? I was like, what? No one. He was like, yeah, no.
But there isn't a standout player now. There isn't.
No. And that's where I'd say, like, maybe I've like, I mean, my fucking standards on the ground as well. I want a player that comes in and gets me off of my seat. That's all I want. I want to be excited about, you know what, he's going to give him a good game, this guy. If we had a left winger or a right winger, and you could say, right, that's going to be a tricky, he's going to win his battle there, he's going to get him pinned back into his, just see something. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's expecting too much.
Again, it's comments like this that make me laugh. Do you know what, guys? I've been doing this for so many years that if I showed you every comment I've ever received every summer, it's a carbon copy of the summer before. Oh, Savva, in a year's time, you'll be saying different. Oh, Savva, when we finish third next year. What are we?
But what did we say, though? The thing is, it's bullshit. That's a bullshit comment, because what did we say? When have we said, all right, Bergvall's shit, don't sign him?
Yeah,
we haven't said that. Like, we've all just said, when we see it with our eyes, we'll change our opinion. Like, we can't just go...
Exactly.
We can't just go, right, we sign random geezer. Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, that's what I want. I have to see. I'm not going to believe what some random guy tells me on the street. I want to see it for myself.
Agreed.
The fella's half right on what he said, yeah? And the bit he's right on is, I will say, if it turns out that all these players turn out being an 8 out of 10, like a majority of games, and end up we get in 4th place and win a cup and whatever, I'm going to be one of the first ones, along with Savva, along with you, or whoever else, and that sit here and say, do you know what? Fair play, I've got that one wrong, and you're going to be happy that you got it wrong. But at the moment, as it looks at the minute, and what you're looking at the moment, it does not look like a good transfer.
I'm sorry, I disagree. I couldn't disagree more, because there's no wrong or right opinion about a football player. They can change your mind. It's not right. That's it. He's shit. He'll never be good. He's always shit.
What I said. I think you missed what I said.
What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is,
if we sit here at the moment and say that don't look like a good transfer window, because it
but how is that? That's not wrong, though, is it? That's not wrong. We haven't said.
But surely, isn't it? Does it look like a good transfer window for what? This is the really key thing. When people go, brilliant transfer window, great. If I turn around and say, guys, we're going to finish 6th this year, I'll go, fine. That window's absolutely fine. We'll maintain where we are. That's fine. So in the chat, before people have a go and go, brilliant window for what? For what?
It doesn't look like it at the minute. But like I said, in a year's time, if it turns out that all these players have been brilliant, I'm going to be one of the first to sit here and say, that transfer window was better than I thought it was, because I think it's been a pretty piss poor one. But obviously, if it turns out that they're all quality, then I'm going to turn around and say, maybe it was a good one. I got it wrong. But again,
I don't think you're wrong or right. I think this is the thing. I don't think you're wrong or right. Show me. Prove to me.
That's what I'm saying.
I hate when people say, for example, Solanke, right? He's shit. That's it. And then he comes in and bangs 30 goals. You can only base on what we've seen. So we're only making up our predictions of what we've gone by. So if we said, right, Archie Gray looks average, and then he comes out and has a standout season, we're not wrong. We've stated what we've seen. You can't be wrong in that. You've gone, right, that's what I've seen. He looks all right. But then he performed and win you the league. You can't go, well, I wasn't wrong because I only saw what I see.
No, at the time it looks poor.
Sorry, go on, Dan. Go on.
At the time, it looks poor. But if it ends up being a very good one, that is when you step back and you say, okay, it was a good transfer window. Because at the moment, I don't think it is. And I will say it clear as day, I do not think this is a good transfer window. But if it turns out by January and by the end of the season that, let's say, 3/4 of these players have ended up on their feet and are in that first team and smashing it, I'm going to be the first to sit back and say, yeah, maybe I got that wrong because I thought it was a bad transfer window. But like you say, you're going to have to see it before you believe it and change your mind.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe where I'm different.
Yeah, YouTube is really playing up tonight. By the way, YouTube is absolutely having a mess. It's not me. It's not my reception. It's YouTube is playing up. I've got a few other Spurs YouTubers on the go saying they're really struggling. It's glitching.
I'm looking at it at the moment. It's jumping like anything.
Yeah, it's jumping in and out, and I do apologise. Look, hopefully stick with us, and we'll just battle through it like pros, Dan, like the senior pros that we are, mate. We'll battle through it. I think one of the key things, I love how James is frozen there, though. It's absolutely brilliant. Look at that. Like we can take a photo of that. And he wants to come back in there, does he? There we go. James, look at your other picture. It's amazing, mate.
It's black. Sorry, mate. It's black. I ain't got nothing.
Oh, we can just see you like that. It's absolutely brilliant. Apologies, everybody. It is YouTube lagging. It's not me. YouTube's having a Daniel Levy moment. Whilst I've got you guys, look, we've got 200 likes. There's depending on the lags, there was over 500 people in the chat. So please smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. We're really tight with subscribing in the Spurs community. When I go back and look at shows where I've had 600-700 people watching, it will show me that over 60% haven't subscribed. And you're thinking, you're watching,
Yeah.
show some love. Show some love. It's absolutely free for you to do. Whilst we're still lagging a bit, let's go to Jamie Allen, who said, I'm not mad that Spurs are going the youth route, but they better get some wins, when some minutes when players like Johnson, Sarr, Maddison, etc. aren't playing well. Absolutely, Jamie. No point bringing in the kids, and then no matter how badly the first teamers, so to speak, play, they don't get a moment on the pitch. Completely agree. Big up, Jamie. Really appreciate that. Jamie's come back in again and said, in my opinion, last season, we only played once a week, so we didn't have much of a reason to play the youth. This season, most of our bench is kids, so we have no choice but to play them, rotate. But Jamie, last year when we went through that spell of injuries, that was the reason to play the youth. But what we saw was Ange would rather have played Dyer, Davis, Royale, Højbjerg, Skip. He would rather have played all the players that weren't in his plans than actually say, do you know what? Let's give one of these kids 90 minutes. Let's see, throw them in, see how they do. And at least then, if they mess up, as a fan, you go, they're only a kid. Do you know what I mean? But if someone like Dyer or Davis messes up, we go, oh, God, again. So, Jamie, I do disagree on that one, but thank you for the super chat. Guys, I think if we go back to what we were saying, I think one of the key things, and please do keep subscribing. Look, what I'm going to say here is surely we can do this. We're on 13,169. Surely we can get that to 13,2. That's 31 subscribers tonight. There's 475 of you in the building. Again, excuses. Eugene, we didn't have the players though. Phillips and Dorrington weren't ready. All right, so why is Gray ready? Why is Bergvall ready? Why is Mikey Moore ready? All the players that everyone's creaming their pants about this summer, why are they ready, but these two weren't? It doesn't, again, no offense, Eugene, it's excuse after excuse. If he had played them, you'd go, oh, they're brilliant. It's excuse. Look, going back to what we were saying there, James, I suppose the difficult thing is when we look back at the end of the season, will I change my mind on the transfer window? It will depend on the impact that those players in the transfer window had. So it won't be, oh my God, we got top four, but let's be fair, Maddison played 38 games of the season, and so did Basuma, and so did Son. And if they all played, I won't look at it and go, wow, that's amazing. Equally, it's got to work the other way. If they all play, get loads of minutes and are really good, I'll say, well, that was very good. I just don't think they're going to get enough game time to show it. I truly don't think in the important games, you're going to see enough of these youth players play together. I think you're going to see sporadically Bergvall gets 90 minutes here or there. I don't think you're going to see Mikey Moore start. He's got so many players in front of him now. Lancashire, they're talking about him not going on loan. When's he going to get minutes? He's not starting over Solanke. Richarlison is a £60 million second string strike. When is he going to... Do you know what I mean, guys?
Yeah.
So
they've got to play.
Question for it. The question that I'll ask everyone then is just basically, does that transfer window look like a window that a team basically looks like a set of players that is going to make our first 11, better to fight for a title, which we know not going to happen anyway, but that's what you're meant to do, or to even win a cup or to get somewhere in Europe? Does any of those players actually look like they're going to take us to that next level? The only one who gets into that team is Solanke. And he had a very good season last season, but before then he was absolutely nothing, basically. Okay, he had a good championship, but Liverpool, what? Nearly 30 games and 1 goal, you know? And does any of that look like anything that you think, yeah, we mean business, we're going to go for it this year? At the moment, no, it doesn't.
Again, I think it depends on your aim, doesn't it? Like what Savva said, it depends on what you're aiming for. But for me, again, it's why I can't say it's a bad window. I don't know who they are. How can I say it's a bad window? I've never seen them play.
But that's why you can say it, James. James, that is why you can say it. I'll ask this question. If you look at, again, I will show this picture again because every time I show it, it emphasises the point. James, Gray, Bergvall, Odobert, and welcome Alex. Gray, Bergvall, Odobert, and Yang. None of them have ever done anything in football because they're so young. So
But that
how
doesn't
can
mean they're
anybody?
bad players, though, does it? That doesn't mean they're bad players.
No one's saying they're bad players.
No one said
James.
No, I know you're not. I know you're not.
No one's saying they're bad players. But how can anybody turn around and go, "What a brilliant window! Look at them. Their seat. I hate this. Their ceiling is that." How does anyone know? Archie Gray's had a season in which I'm being told by certain Leeds fans he wasn't even one of their best free players. I've got Leeds fans telling me Somerville was the best player, Ampadu was excellent, and even Joe Roden was sensational. They're saying, but Gray, because we signed him, he's the top talent in English football. Like, it's surely, James, we've got to wait until they're old enough and have played 100 odd games to say whether they're good signings or not.
I suppose this is where I don't know. Maybe sitting on the fence, is that the right word? I don't say that they're great, or it's a great window, or they're the next best thing in their ceilings here. I don't say any of that.
What does it look to you at the moment? Does here and now, looking at that window, does that look like a good window that's going to take us places? In your opinion, because we can't say
because I don't know who they are. How can I say? I can't say. I don't know who they are.
But you just did say. You just said no. You just said no.
No, but what I mean more is, it's like it's impossible for me to have an opinion if I don't know who they are. How can I?
Why don't you know who they are, James?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the other side of the conversation. Yeah, exactly.
Because you talking. You, like all the other people that are now pretending like Odobert. I've seen Odobert last year a couple of times when I've watched Burnley on TV. I'm not going to sit there and say every time Burnley were on TV, I went, "Oh, I must watch Burnley." But now people are going, "This kid is brilliant. What a capture from Spurs." So do you see the difference, James? I'm not sitting here saying he's a great signing or not.
No.
But for me, how do I turn around and say my club is showing ambition when him, Gray, Bergvall, Yang, none of them have done anything in football because they're teenagers that have just started puberty? Like, what are we doing?
I think it's the fact of a winning team, a team that wants to go for a bloody title, or a team that wants to go win something, does not go and re-sign Timo Werner when the manager the season before was actually moaning about what he had up front and it wasn't clinical enough, and then he goes and re-signs one of the bloody problems.
I'll make my own opinion up.
I'm not forcing anything.
Timo Werner then?
By the way, can I say, I'm not forcing anything. And second of all, when children, right? First of all, you've spelt agenda wrong, and James, and Savva should have a capital S, and there's 2 full stops. So if you're going to try and mug me off, at least do it coherently, right? When people use the word agenda, why would I not want every Spurs player, guys, to be sensational? Why would I not want every Spurs manager to win trophies? When people tell me you've got an agenda against Archie Gray, why? Why would I have an agenda against an 18-year-old kid? What are we doing here? Alex, let me bring the nonce. I love kids, right? Alex, I asked the guys just now. I said, if this was our summer window, if I'd shown this to you, Alex, at the beginning of pre-season and said, that's what we're going into the season with, what would you have said?
I'm fuming, mate. I'm absolutely fuming. I was listen, a couple of years ago, when Conte was in charge and I knew he was going, I was going on yours and Henry Wright's show at the time, and I felt obligated to come on because I just wasn't bothered. And I just zoned out completely. And I was talking to Kuva at the time, and I think we both were just sitting there thinking, we're just doing this just because we're just doing it for the heck, and that's it. I feel like that right now. I honestly, I think maybe also I've been on holiday, I've been to Jamaica, and I've just come back and I'm just back to reality again. But honestly, I'm back. Luckily, I went out tonight. I went to do some suit dancing, some Brazilian suit dancing, because I do that on a Friday. Because honestly, I literally was just mad. I just couldn't. I can't do it anymore. I really can't do it anymore.
I don't believe you. You got to show me some moves. Go on.
No, I'm not doing that now because, but I
Get
just
up and show us. Come on.
honestly, I just can't. And the thing is, though, Savva, the thing is in Savva, as soon as
No,
the
I didn't
signing
say
made, I was
that.
like, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear the BS from some of these YouTubers. And what did they do? I mean, I
Oh,
watched one person. Honestly, I was laughing. I just laughed. I
do you
literally
know what I
laughed.
love, guys? Alex.
I
Every
laughed.
now and then, I get a WhatsApp from Alex. Right. Every now and then, I get a WhatsApp from Alex, and it's just like Alex is really blunt with his words, and he's just like, "Oh, more delusion." It will just say like "more delusion," and then a video clip. And the thing is, they're on cue, guys. These
Right on
delusional
cue.
YouTubers are on cue.
Right, you're cute.
Right. Do you know what I got sent today? Right. Perchy sent me this, right? And the moment we signed Odobert, and I'm in one WhatsApp group. I'm in one WhatsApp group for football only, right? And it's a group I've been in with. They're not all YouTubers. I'm the only YouTuber in there. And the moment we signed him, right, Perchy turns around and goes to me, and if you're in the chat, big up Perchy, it goes, how long until we get all the messages of people who love this player for ages and they've been monitoring him for years and this is the best person for Ange's system? And then what do you know? Within minutes of Spurs signing this player, right, you get all of these things from people like Invert the Wing and Jacko, all those people going, this is a brilliant Ange type player. This is who we've been tracking all summer. And you're like, right on cue. No one will actually turn around and go, well, this is a risk. And then when somebody does, right, that way, when we do, oh, you're so negative. You don't like anything about the club. No. But Alex, I'll ask you, if Aston Villa today, if Newcastle today, if Brentford today had signed, West Ham had signed Odobert, are you telling me all our fans are going, oh, we've missed out on a really top player there?
We'd be laughing.
We'd be laughing at them.
Like, it's the same thing, Savva. I get called negative. Look, I've done this for 4 years now. I've done YouTube for 5 years now. Yeah, right. I've been called I get names called under the sun. Yeah, and this year I'm done. I'm done. And the thing that gets to me, the people now that are calling me negative are now the same people that are saying Ange's gone by December.
Yeah.
And I was the one. Savva, what was I saying at the beginning of like 2 years last year, June? I was talking to you. You said you didn't believe me, and now you're seeing what I'm saying right now.
Agreed.
And I'm just like,
you were right.
And it's like I'm not saying this out. I'm just saying. And the thing that annoys me is what I'm in one chat and they're saying you don't talk facts. You don't talk facts. I'm like, I'm not being funny. I don't need to talk facts because I can see it for myself. I'm fed up with the stats. I can't stand stats. When they bring up this guy, they keep on putting stats in front of me. They'd say, oh, he's done these dribbles, he's done this, he's done that, he's done that. I'm like, what? You said it perfectly yesterday on your show, Savva. Are we mad? Are we actually mad? Are we going mad?
This is what we do, Alex. Like, look at this, right? Like, so Eugene, like, basically, Fabrizio Romano's just announced that Chelsea and Atletico Madrid are close to agreeing. Felix going one way, Gallagher going the other way, right? And this is what you get, right? It's, waiting to hear that Felix is a top player based on what he did 5 years ago. At the same time, not saying Eugene is saying this, but at the same time, Alex, absolutely wetting our knickers over Bergvall, Gray and Odobert, 3 people who have done nothing in a football career. And this is what makes me laugh. If we had signed Felix, it would have been, he's an Ange player. That's who Ange wants. What a brilliant signing. Chelsea sign him. He's shit. He's shit. He's not done anything for 5 years. He's shit. Even though Barcelona wanted him. Even though Atletico Madrid wanted him. He's shit. But don't worry, Odobert from Burnley, oh, that's a top player. That's a really good window. We are the most delusional fan base out there. Sorry, I'm calling
James. I'm not being funny, mate. When you're doing it for 4 years, like, and Savva's done this for quite a while as well, right? You'll understand what we're feeling because you see the same old patterns every single time, yeah. And it's not even funny. It's not even funny anymore. You know what I mean? And this is why my face is now like literally. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I can't. I'm not even going to that many games anymore. Like the Everton game, forget it. I'm going Carnival. Forget it. I want to say I can't do it. I just can't do it anymore. They're not ruining my Carnival. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it this year. I'm sorry. They're taking too much of my money. I'm sorry. I can't do it. The only game I want to go to is Arsenal. I'm badly need a ticket for it. But other than that, forget it. Absolutely forget it. If anyone's telling me that this team is better than any of the top 6, you're having a laugh. You're having an absolute laugh. I'm sorry, West Ham are laughing at us right now because their transfer window is 100 times better than ours. Yeah. And I'm not even bothered about the transfer window. And if Ange is supporting this, it's on you. Yeah, you've got to coach this guy and make him look better. Yeah, I want you to show yourself you're better than Pochettino as a coach. If you're not better as Pochettino as a coach, why are you getting rubbish players like this player in right now? I'm sorry, man. I wasn't gonna rant because I've been dancing, but that's it. But back to you, Savva. I'm done. I've had enough.
No, listen, mate. I love an Alex rant, and look, I just think that people need to keep the same energy. I think people need to keep the same energy, right? And if we're going to call everyone else's signings trash, but all of our kids are going to be amazing, it shows you what it's just biased, right? And I feel like, James, I'll come to you. I feel like we're at the stage where we could literally announce anyone as a signing now, James, and our fans put them into this bucket of a project and just elevate them to perfect Ange ball player, whatever that means. Do you see where I'm coming from with that? And you don't have to agree.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I do agree. No. Listen, I'll say whatever I want to say. I agree with it. Like, how can you? For me, that whole argument goes out of the window when you don't sign Conor Gallagher, because if I'm going by whatever I've seen and what I'm told that Ange Ball is, the only person I can say in the Prem last year that fits that perfectly is Conor Gallagher, in my opinion. So if you're signing the Ange players for the Ange system, in my opinion, the first player you bring in is probably Conor Gallagher. So therefore, I don't believe we're signing the perfect Ange players. Yeah. And these people that are saying, this is where I tried to not read it. I mean, you get it a lot more than me. These people that say that this is unbelievable and he's world class, I just look at them and just think you're fucking stupid. Because based on what? It doesn't make sense. Until it's proven, then I'll go, you know what, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just want to, again, Robert, see, again, this is where I don't want to be rude, but again, critical thinking. West Ham have had an excellent window for West Ham, right?
Brilliant for them.
For where West Ham were and for their squad, nearly all the players they've signed strengthen their 11, right? So no one's saying they're all amazing and ours are all trash. So again, when people do this is very disingenuous, Robert. But West Ham, as I said earlier, acknowledge they need more centre-halves. They go out and get Max Kilman, who, by the way, for years I've seen Spurs fans saying they'd like Max Kilman from Wolves. To Debo, who we were wetting our knickers last summer over him when we couldn't get him, right?
Couldn't afford him, yeah.
They bought in Wan-Bissaka, who's better than any of their right-backs. And, okay, he's not an offensive right-back, but Wan-Bissaka is one of the best one-on-one defensive right-backs in the league. They've gone and bought...
Not a wing-back.
Absolutely. They've gone and bought a forward who's brilliant for them in terms of full croc, holding the ball up, bringing in Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta, Somerville into play. Somerville and Guillaume for depth and the wingers that they've already got. Last summer as well, they did the same. They sold Rice and then bought Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, people who went straight into the 11 and made them a strong team. So Kudus, class player. So it's not about, West Ham are amazing and will finish above us. But I look at clubs and go, what have you done for you? We're not them. We're not them. Me saying Fabio Carvalho to Brentford is an amazing signing isn't me saying Spurs should have gone all out to get Fabio Carvalho. I would have taken him, by the way. But do you see my point? Different clubs are at different levels. And unfortunately, I look at that window, as I said earlier, Dan, and the window I see is that is what I would expect from, barring Solanke, I would expect that from any of the teams from 14th to 9th. I would expect that from Wolves, from Crystal Palace, from Fulham. I
think
would
you're
not
being well
expect
harsh
that
there.
from Tottenham.
I think you're being well harsh. I think Kilman's good.
No, Spurs.
Yeah, but what, they wouldn't get into our team or push our team?
No. That's not what I said.
Not what you're
saying.
saying.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you look at our window, and I expect that from a team that are 9th to 14th. I look at West Ham's window for them, and I go, yeah, their director of football has gone out and gone, what do I... Again, look at us. We know we all need a top midfielder. Haven't got it yet. And we'll talk about Locatelli in a minute. Right? We all knew we needed a top winger. So we go out and buy Werner, who's rubbish, and Odobert, who's a kid. Right? You see what I mean? The difference is they've gone out and looked at their weaknesses over the last 2 summers and gone, that will do us. Their director of football has gone and got it done for 122 million at the moment. Only one of their players costs more than 25 million pounds. That is a director of football with a plan, who knows the market and has put a plan into place brilliantly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying West Ham are amazing. I'm not saying West Ham are winning a league, but I don't see one unhappy West Ham fan right now. Not one.
No, I agree. And like you said, they've, for me, and I'm like, this is going to rattle us few Spurs fans. Their front line is head and shoulders above our front line. They're not even in the same league, in my opinion. I'll take Kudos over Maddison. I'll take Bowen over whoever you want to put right wing. Son, maybe, but I'd probably still take Paqueta over Son. So the front line for me, the front 3 or 4, I'd probably take all of them. Tobido. People were telling me last season that he's better than Romero. We're going to sell Romero, bring that guy in. Kilman for me is a 7 out of 10 every week. Wan-Bissaka, I think, will do a very good job. So I think that they've actually, without disrespecting West Ham, I think they were never in the picture to now they're like, hello, Tottenham. We're here, we're here.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And they haven't got Europe.
You're not even saying anything. You're not even saying anything. You're just saying something that, to be honest, you're just talking the truth, James. To be honest with you, because I'll take their front line.
I'm the truth. I'm the box office. The truth of entertainment.
You're talking the truth. I'm not being funny. You're rattling people, but you're talking the truth. They can't take the truth. They can't take the truth.
They say the truth.
And that's it. I'm sorry.
West Ham, for them, if as far as I'm concerned, if a team has improved their first 11 significantly, then that's a good transfer window for them.
I agree.
Okay, it might have been like basically what you're saying. It might be ones that, well, we wouldn't be looking at those 3 or 4 players. Well, no, if we're meant to be like top 6 team in the Premiership and going for a title and want Champions League and everything, no, we shouldn't be going for those sort of players. But if we only get one player in that actually gets into our first 11 at this moment in time, it hasn't been the greatest transfer window, especially when you need several places replacing. Whereas you look at Arsenal, they're at that stage now, sadly, where they only need to buy 1 or 2 players on a transfer window because they've now got a squad. They've now got, they're now good enough to say, right, that's only one place we really need 100%. To improve, and that's our left wing back or left back, whatever you want to say. The rest of it is ticking properly. Right, we're now also going to buy someone who can give him a double fight for his position.
But to back Savva up there again, does that mean Haaland was a shit signing? Because for me personally, Harry Kane's the best striker in the world football at the moment. So if City signed Haaland, does that mean that he's a shit striker because he wouldn't have got into our first team at that point? Does that mean that was a bad signing? Does that make sense? Is that making sense?
Yeah.
For me, Harry Kane is the best striker in the world.
Yeah.
So if Haaland signed for Man City, that's a shit signing. No. What are you doing?
If Spurs would have signed Haaland, we have now bought a player, like I said, the second player that Arsenal buys, that can give Harry Kane a run for his money all day long to score
Exactly.
goals.
No, yeah, but what I'm
He's
just
not a
backing
better
up
player.
Savva's opinion, because what they're saying,
No,
they're
I'm agreeing
attacking,
with you.
they're attacking Savva's
agreeing with you.
opinion. So
But what
I've
I'm
just
saying
worded
is-
it in two different players.
Yeah,
attacking
and I'm
opinion.
saying Haaland for us would have been an excellent buy because he could fight Harry Kane all the way. I mean, Harry Kane is a much better overall gifted player than Haaland. It's just Haaland is the dog bollocks at what he does. And that is the sort of transfer I want us to do, where we either go and buy a player that gets straight into that 11, or we go and buy a player that can fight that left winger all the way, that the minute he does a dodgy cross, he's looking over his shoulder because he's going to lose his position.
Absolutely.
That's what I want. That is what I want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same.
As somebody just said, I think it was you, Dan. You look at for me, I look at a transfer window and say, what have we done to the 11? Yeah, because surely the whole point is that you upskill your 11, and some of the players that were in that 11 suddenly don't become automatic picks; they become part of the squad and rotation. Your Madisons, your Bentancurs, your Sars, all of these players should be looking and going, Jesus, Spurs have just signed X, Y, and Z. Hang on, we've got to fight. I've got to get, but what we haven't. What we've done is buy a load of kids. So all of these players, let's be brutally honest. Which player is well and truly looking over their shoulder, going,
no one,
right? And that comment, this comment is comment of the night. We can sit and talk all we want about wingers, forwards. Spurs have not signed one player that shows me we're going to concede fewer goals than last season. And Phil, for me, I think you're absolutely spot on. Now, that leads me to lots of people have been asking in the chat about Locatelli. Look, Locatelli, for me, I think had his best years a few years ago. But I personally, guys, this is only me. I'll get slaughtered again. I don't really rate any of our centre mids. For me, I think he walks straight into our team. And if we sign Locatelli, I'll turn around and go, yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
But it's not enough, Savva.
No, Alex, I know, but baby steps at the moment, mate. At the moment, we're signing kids.
One step at a time.
At the moment, we're signing players, Alex, that need to get permission slips from their mum to go to training because they're so young, right?
Yeah, true.
So if we sign Locatelli, I go straight away, brilliant. Get him into centre mid. I'm happy with that. Yes, it's not enough. Guys, Locatelli, where are we at? I'm saying a big fat yes.
He's a player that I've thought is a very good player for a long time. And one who always kept on bringing it up on the chat, on my chat, everyone else's chat. Tony Rodriguez has always said Locatelli is a player that he'd love Spurs to go for. And I've always turned around and said to him, you wish. No bloody chance. Because he's one of my favourite players in Italy as well, along with Pellegrini. And Chiesa is an excellent player as well. Barred that injury he had, but he's getting back on his feet. We go get Locatelli. We have now gone and got ourselves a solid DM, but can also quite easily cover that box-to-box way as well, because that's what he does with Juventus. Plays a solid DM, but he also comes forward with a ball and plays as a solid box-to-box on what you want Gallagher to do. Now, I'm not saying he's the same physicality as Gallagher, not at all, but he's definitely better on the ball, can definitely pass it better. The way he tackles is totally different. He likes to just sort of take it off your feet instead of give you a sliding tackle. He's 5 times better than anything we've got in midfield. He's an excellent player. I mean, and over the past 4 years, how many games has he missed over the past 4 years? Not many.
I'm just looking now. What? Give me 1 second. I'll come back to you.
I mean, if I remember last season, he played well over 30.
So Locatelli in his last 3 seasons has played. This is league. 36 league games, 33 league games, 32 league games. And then before that was Sassuolo. It was 3 seasons over 33. So, yeah, he's missing.
Very consistent player.
Really.
And he's not a reject in that aspect. Juventus are desperate to make money, make some money. And they need to get rid of some of their heavy earners as well. That's why Chiesa's got to go. They've gone and bought players. They now have to make money. Because in Italy, bar Inter Milan now, with who's just bought them, there is not much money in Italy. Why do you think we were fighting for 3 weeks to sell Royale over basically £1 million? because we wanted 15, they was willing to offer 14, whatever. Because teams aren't like that in Italy anymore, like AC Milan and that used to. And yeah, like Tony's just said on the side here, Locatelli, 26 years old, perfect age, perfect signing, and he's been saying
what do you say to this?
Him on here. AC Milan in my dad's team, so naturally I'm a big Serie A fan. Locatelli is dreadful, not a chance, not a chance. I mean, did you watch him in the watched him since 2020 Euros? Yeah, I have. And he's a very good player. He's a consistent player. I'm not saying he's the best player in Italy, but he's significantly better. But you see what I mean, Dan?
We'll sit and praise Archie Gray at 40 million, who's had 1 year in the Championship for Leeds, but then we're going to turn around and say that Mauro Locatelli, who's played for Juventus and AC Milan and Italy, is a dreadful player. That's where we're at, right? That's where we're at.
I watched him play plenty of times. Inter Milan is my second team. I follow that team nearly as much as I do Spurs. And Locatelli is not a poor player, not at all. The season couldn't have been that bad if he played from what you said, nearly 40 games. It couldn't have been that bad because they haven't got a small team, Juventus.
I think what's going from at the moment, he's experienced at the end of the day, isn't it? You know what I mean? And he's experienced of winning as well. So I think for me at the moment. And I've watched a few clips of him. I still think, I think it's something that we would need. You know what I mean? I think that's something that I would definitely, I wouldn't call him. I don't like the term reject because I think he's done a lot more than I think Bentancur did at Juventus. Yes, he did win championships and stuff, but I think he's done more. You see what I'm saying? I think he did really well for Italy as well, didn't he? So. On the back of that, maybe I would take it. And I know it's baby steps, but I still think it's not enough for me at the moment. But I would say at the moment, with the having that sort of experience of winning, that ruthless side of things, I think we need that 100% to guide some of these youngsters. Because at the moment, I don't see anyone guiding youngsters at the moment. That's what's concerning me at the moment. There's too many youngsters, but not that much experience of winning. Having that bit of an edge to it. You know what I mean? And I think that we need somebody like a Locatelli maybe to do that. Do you know what I mean?
But Alex, this is the problem, right? I mean, first and foremost, are we? This for me again is lack of critical thinking, right? His role as a DM, he doesn't need to have pace. He's an intelligent. He's an intelligent footballer. Yeah. Are we saying that every midfielder in the Premier League has got loads and loads of pace?
No, you don't need loads of pace though. You don't need loads of pace. It's always intelligence. This is the thing. Like if you're a very good player, right, with lots of skill, you dictate the game. You see what I'm saying? So I don't really agree with that. I actually think that if you've got too much pace, you take things for granted a little bit.
I agree.
I think when you've got that, that. You don't have that. You just have to have that football brain. You just have to have good football brain and just
I love this. Alex, all these people, have a look at this. Locatelli is mid, right? Let's look at the list of Italian midfielders who excelled in the Premier League, right? He's too slow for the Premier League. I prefer Gallagher. Like, what I don't get, right? What I don't get is he is better than every one of our midfielders. How has a team like Spurs, with the average central midfielders we've got, that give the ball away at every opportunity, we get to a player like Locatelli, right? We get to a player like Locatelli, and I don't think he'd do it in the Premier League. But Gray and Bergvall and Sarr can run all day. Technically on the ball, he's crap. So you can have as much legs as you want. If you can't control a football and you can't put your foot on the ball and control a game, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what we're doing here. The fact as Spurs fans, we would turn our noses up at Locatelli. Like, sorry, it's madness for me. It's absolutely madness.
Look at what Jorginho's done for Arsenal. Look what he's done for Arsenal. Because he come in and he's helped that midfield, with the experience that he's won as well. and I mean, I don't really get it really. What I mean, for me, I think Dan's just kind of said it all. You know what I mean? I trust Dan's judgment really at the end of the day, because I think he's very, very honest, and I don't think he'll be disingenuous about this player anyway. You know what I mean? So for me, I think take him on. The only thing I would say at the moment is how much you're paying for him. But if you can get him for a good price, which I think we can get him for a good price, I'll bring him in, because that experience is really, really important. And I don't think he'll take a lot of BS. And I don't think he's a nice guy. I think he'll ruffle a few feathers as well. That's the thing. Like Perisic did. You know what I mean? You know, Perisic, I don't think he was like satisfied just being happy not to win. You know what I mean?
Sorry, Alex.
If we'd have played him in the right position, it'd have been a lot better.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I would have taken him more than bloody Timo Werner. I'm sorry, you could just go back in the bin. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, I can't.
I agree.
Just quickly, sorry. Why did somebody block Eugene from the chat? Eugene does nothing wrong. He's never rude. He comes on. He's always nice to talk to. Who blocked him? Please don't be blocking people for silly things, because now I've got to go in to the back office and fiddle about and get him reinstated for no reason at all. So please, if it was a mistake, I'm all for that. But please don't block people like Eugene. He's always in the show, always shows me support. Sorry, guys, as you were, leave me to this for a minute. I'm just going to try and get him added back. Sorry.
But I don't get it. I don't get it, to be honest with you. I think, I looked at the links firsthand when it came about, and I did think, you know what, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it at all, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind it at all, Locatelli.
The other thing is, okay, some people. This is one thing with players. A lot of things you can put facts down, but then a lot of things can also come to opinion at the end of the day. There'll be plenty out there who will say that Haaland is a better player than Kane. But then there'll be plenty of people out there who will say Kane is a better player than Haaland. Yeah, I get the opinions of it. For me, Locatelli is exactly the type of player we need, and he is a very, very good player. Now, another one, Chiesa as well. Okay, he's had his injuries over the past 3 seasons, but last season had a respectable season. Could have been better, but it was his first solid season back. And one thing I can definitely tell everyone on here for a fact is that he can cross and pass and dribble that ball 5 times better than anything we've got. Because we haven't even got a bloody forward who can cross the bloody ball.
I think with Locatelli, I think what people are kind of hanging on to is he an Ange player? Is in the fact of we sit so far up that when we do get countered, are they relying on him to get back as well, kind of thing?
But the whole point is he shouldn't be up there. That's the
no. I agree. Yeah,
job,
agree.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
He shouldn't be up there, kamikaze, right?
Of course, yeah. But again, the way I would reply, football is how you see it. Depends on how you see it. So for me, maybe a bit controversial, but I think one of the best CDMs, centre mids to ever live is Luka Modric. And you won't see him beating 4 or 5 players and spraying a ball. You won't see him making a last-ditch slide tackle. He doesn't do any of that. But what he can do is he's 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of every single player on that pitch. At minimum. I saw him come on the other day in the Champions League, and as soon as he comes on, don't get me wrong, Real Madrid look good, or not Champions League, the Cup final. They look good, but they look like a lot of headless chickens. And then as soon as he comes on, everything just kind of relax, and they take 5, 6, 7 touches, and then before they know, through ball goes in, and then you're away. And I think sometimes, again, this is where Ange has got to change a little bit with someone like Locatelli. I think he would actually draw in more players than somebody like a Basuma or a Saar, because I think he's technically so much better. He doesn't mind making a 3-yard pass and then taking it back, and that draws people in. When that draws people in, that's going to then leave space for your wingers, your wing back, the striker. So for me, it depends on how you see the game. And another one, Michael Carrick. Does Michael Carrick crap?
One of the most underrated players ever. Ever.
Hit the nail on the head,
before, mate.
I'm going to go with that.
Before.
Michael Carrick, the most underrated Premier League player
110%.
He was phenomenal. And the only reason this man doesn't have 100 England caps is because no manager had the balls to drop either Gerrard or Lampard and played them together. But this is the thing for me, right? When we're talking about a player like Locatelli, we're talking about a player with great positional sense, who uses that, good feet. All of this, you've got to have pace to play the number 6. Think of the number 6s out there. How many of them are truly blessed with pace?
Not a lot.
Tell me one of our midfielders.
Is Rodri quick?
No.
And Rodri is the best player in world football, in my eyes. Rodri is the best player in world football.
In midfield? Yeah.
What about
tell me a
Busquets?
midfielder that's quick.
Busquets.
Tell me a midfielder we've got that is actually fast. Tell me one midfielder we got that is actually quicker that is actually faster on 100 meters than Kulusevski.
Mate,
I don't know. You're not comparing him. Kulusevski turns like a truck. So
I didn't say turn. I said fastest on 100 meters.
You go ready, steady, go.
Tell me one of our centre-mids that is actually faster on 100 meters than Kulusevski.
I don't know. It depends on what lane he starts. If he starts in the right lane, I reckon he'll cut in about 4 times before he starts moving forward.
The difference is in football. What I think some people, again, it's how you see it. Yeah, there's a big difference between quick and fast.
Agreed.
Quick is when you can get to your top speed within 20 meters, 10 meters, whatever. Yeah, but that person next to you might need 50 meters to get to his top speed, but then still leave you light years behind on 100 meters. And someone's speed is usually done over 100 meters, isn't it?
That's why, for me, Carl Walker was so good, because he was quick and he had speed. He's probably one of the only people that you're like...
He wasn't that fast.
I don't know. He was quick off the mark. And then when he got...
Yeah, but he wasn't fast on 100 meters. No,
I disagree. Yeah, I know. I disagree. I disagree. And that's just like, for example, when in the Euros, when Mbappe, he was sitting on the halfway line, he got played through. As soon as he made up those first 10 yards, Walker was a machine, absolute machine. But
both
rarity, though. They're very rare.
They're quick and fast, whereas a lot of players are either fast or quick.
Yeah.
What you want your winger to be, he hasn't actually got to be the fastest person on the pitch. He's got to be the quickest person on the pitch.
No, he doesn't. Edgar Davids,
what you want your winger to do.
Edgar Davids, another unbelievable player. Edgar Davids was a winger, left winger.
No, he wasn't. He was a defensive midfielder.
He was one of the best midfielders I've ever seen play football. He was not a winger.
Towards the end of his game, he went out to the left wing, didn't he? And he wasn't quick, but he'd still. If you have it for me,
no one there.
No, but for me, again, people say that you need pace. I think your brain. If you're 4 or 5, for example, wasn't it? Was it Leslie King or Toby that said they never needed to make a slide tackle because they already knew what they were going to do? Didn't make a slide tackle for about 4 years. You don't need to be quick. If I know you're going to play a ball down the left, I'll cover the left. You don't need to be quick.
A winger, it does help if they're quick, definitely. Whereas as a defensive midfielder, doesn't need that quickness like a winger does. How's a winger going to beat it past his man or take it past his man if he's a slow?
Mahrez isn't quick. He's just stole my thunder. Mahrez ain't quick.
I'm not saying all are, but it definitely helps for your winger to be
quick. If you're not quick, if you're aiming here, for me, you have to have a footballing brain. And this is where that whole defensive midfielder falls apart, because if you have a defensive or a footballing brain, you understand football. So you could have a Theo Walcott on the wing. So,
obviously, but I said it helps. You want your winger to be quick.
Listen, it's a bonus.
Most people
it's a bonus. Yeah,
it's something that a lot of people look for. You get
different types of players, right? Let's be fair. You get those wingers who are absolutely rapid, right? Gareth Bale, absolutely rapid, gets the ball to his feet. You are not catching him, right? Mark Overmars, players like that. Ryan Giggs. These people, they were just superb. Then you get wingers like David Beckham. David Beckham wasn't blessed with pace, but David Beckham had the best tool set you could need for a winger, was the ability to get it out of his feet, whip it in without needing to beat his man, right? Mm-hmm. Then you look at players like, some people have got it all. You look at Ginola. Ginola, when he got, I love Ginola. When he got ahead of speed, was quick, but so skillful. Giggs was another one. Yeah, so skillful to go with that pace as well. For me, the problem is, though, if we're talking about his centre mid, first and foremost, again, let this sink in. We are a fan base that are defending Bergvall, Gray, Odobert, Yang, Werner, and then you put Locatelli on the table and people are going, he's mid, we need better. I'm sorry, who the F do we think we are that we've got Sarr? I'm not being funny. Don't know what he does in a football game. We've got Sarr, Basuma, Bentancur and Skip as our central midfielders. And we've truly got this many people saying Locatelli wouldn't work. I'm going to say this. The problem with everybody just having pace and being able to run about is it's chaos football. It's chaos. And that's fine. Name me a team that's ever been chaos that wins things. Now, before you answer that, let's look at the great teams. Look at Barcelona under Pep. No chaos. Everything absolutely controlled. No chaos anywhere, was there? Yeah? No chaos. Absolutely controlled. Yeah? Xavi wasn't gifted with any pace. Busquets wasn't gifted with any pace. Right? Now let's look at this Man City team. De Bruyne, he's not gifted with pace. Gundogan wasn't gifted with pace. Bernardo Silva isn't gifted with pace. Rodri isn't slow, but he's not gifted with pace. You know why? Because they're intelligent. They control games of football.
Yeah.
And that's what Guardiola teaches, by the way. That's what Guardiola teaches, by the way, as well. But it's not just
that. Look at Arsenal. Look at Arsenal. Now, Jorginho, who was excellent towards the end of last season, Jorginho ain't got any pace in him at all. But you know what he is? He's supremely intelligent.
Yeah.
He's experienced. He's one step ahead up there. And we've got fans who don't think Locatelli makes us better. I don't. This is what I mean. Sorry, I'm ranting. What are we doing as a club? Odobert.
And then if we sign him, we'll have signed a world-class player.
Yeah, exactly.
He makes our team better, and he actually helps some of the other members of the team as well. Because when you've got somebody that is very confident and very experienced as well, that is doing the defensive work, what does that help the other midfielders? It helps the other midfielders because they feel more, secure, don't they? You know what I mean?
Alex, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What good? The Spurs midfield, right, give the ball away at a rate of knots. I don't know if that's just me. We give the ball away for fun, right? Because it keeps coming back. What good is it having a really quick player in there that gives the ball away as opposed to having a player that goes, you know what? Calm down. I've got the ball. Calm down. Everyone relax. You move away from me. You move away from me. I already know my next pass, right? I don't get this constant need. Like the Premier League is this superb league, better than all the others. Like every other league is slow. What's the German league? Right? What's the German league? It's not slow. It's like our league. But I just don't get what we're doing here. I don't understand.
Could you? Sorry to jump in there, but could you say? Like, I mean, again, this, in my opinion, is people that don't know football when they say it's all about pace. You have no idea about football, because I would say 90% of the goals that I saw last season were coming from the reason we needed pace is because our midfield lost the ball when we was on the attack or we pushed forward. So, for example, Basuma would turn and play it straight to the feet of their attacking midfield, and it's like, oh shit, we're on a 3v2, and then you need your pace, yeah. But if you've got somebody in the midfield that doesn't give the ball away, I mean, I said from after seeing Sarr for 2-3 months that the guy gives the ball away every 10 seconds, and he's terrible on the ball. He's still young, yeah, admittedly, but if we didn't give the ball away in midfield, we wouldn't be hit on the counter attack or as much.
Absolutely.
So you wouldn't need the pace.
The problem is,
and we do have the pace behind. Romero's not slow, and Mickey van der Ven's fucking rapid.
All right,
so
let me
give you an example.
Let me give you an example. Certain players, though, I'm not saying that you want pace in your team. Do you or do you not? Yeah. Everybody wants a bit of pace somewhere in their team. Yeah, you haven't got to have it to be a quality player. It depends how you play football. Let me give you 2 examples. Michael Owen, brilliant striker. Lost his pace, bang average at best.
Agreed.
Son, once he loses his pace properly, is he going to be able to get half the amount of goals he gets?
I'm not
because
too
he's another
sure.
player, very good player at finishing and that. But Son is a player that has always relied heavily on his pace as well, has he not? So he's going to have to learn to adapt to either play without his pace. This is how we see how good his mentality is, or it'll show how
He
much
changed
he
his
has
game,
actually
innit?
relied on his pace. That's what I'm saying.
He's
Just
not
Or
good
it
enough to
was-
change his game. He's not good enough to change his
Right.
game.
So
That's
he's
the
going
thing,
to
that's
go
the problem,
downhill
isn't it?
without his pace then.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's
So
one of our
some
stars
players
as well.
rely on their pace so much. Whereas
Yeah.
you go and get another quality winger who basically had it all, and his speed was a major part of it, but he could do it without speed as well. But he was just that good. Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs was an excellent winger, but his pace was definitely a big part of the way he liked to play. Take Ronaldo, for example, yeah? Would Ronaldo have been as good as he was without that electric pace he had?
No,
No,
but
His dribbling was nowhere near Messi.
yeah.
Same as dribbling these days, a lot of players ain't very good dribblers on the wings. What most of them do is actually
Well, it
just
makes
kick
a
it past
huge
the
difference,
player and
doesn't
run.
it?
Yeah,
It
but
makes
a lot
it-
of players kick it past the player and run. To me,
Run,
that's
yeah.
not dribbling with a ball. That's not having
Agreed.
ball control. And Ronaldo used to kick it past them and literally just steam past them. Without his pace, he comes down a level, even though he's world class and one of the best players ever. But he's a player that definitely, his pace was a large part of his game. But he also had a lot of other gifts. Whereas Messi was not as fast as Ronaldo. No way. But he was tenfold better on a ball than Ronaldo.
Can I
and could
also
take it
say
round
as
three or
well-
four people dribbling it.
Can I say as well, just to go back on the Odobert signing, yeah, right? The reason also why I'm so annoyed, on a Tuesday, mostly I'll go on Ash's show, right? On Ash's show, yeah, Ash Matt's show, yeah. And every single time he brings up great, good players, yeah. And the excuse I hear from Tottenham fans saying we can't get any better than Werner and get any better than Odobert. But then when I sit there, big up Cooper, by the way, the funniest guy on YouTube, by the way, and big up for the
Get
chat
on,
earlier.
Cooper.
Yeah,
Cooper, come on.
Get on, Cooper. Yeah, get
Come
on,
on.
Cooper.
I mean, can
we'll
you
miss
imagine
ya.
Werner without pace? He wouldn't even play football.
I know, but it's like Ashmatic brings up
What, Werner
player
got
after
pace?
player after player after player after player, right? That he finds himself off his own back, and I'm sitting there looking at it and thinking, how is he finding players that I would have in my team tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, and this scouting network finds this bang average bunch of players. What? How is it?
But
You know what I mean?
it isn't another argument for Locatelli, regardless if you think he's good enough or not. Isn't he the perfect player to have alongside Archie Gray and saying, this is how you control a game, lad. Watch this.
Oh yeah, no.
This is how I
He's
breed
already got
confidence.
that, James. He's already going to do that. He's going to go out with Basuma and get on it for the night, isn't he?
But ain't that what we want? Like Archie Gray
Exactly.
comes in next to Locatelli, and Locatelli goes, "Listen here, lad. This
agree.
is how I take you under my wing.
Agreed.
Calm." And then for me, it's the same as, you know, like I said in pre-season when Harry Kane shook Will Lankshire's hand. That's how you know someone's class. Like you just know it. And if Will Lankshire was a year older and Harry Kane was there, you know, Harry Kane would have took him on and said, "Look, this is what we need to do. This is how we play. Follow me. Watch this. Learn this." And that's exactly the same with.
Who is there to look up to at our team for the young players?
Bro,
Romero.
I've been saying this.
Romero's the only one.
No, bro, I've been
Alex
saying this.
been saying this for days.
I've been saying this. I've been saying this. I said that. I said like when he's getting criticism from the fans, who's he looking up to? Because he's not going to talk to Ange. Ange is going to say, "Oh, all right, mate." You know what I mean? It's like, well, you got somebody who's maybe gone through that, and he's like talking to them, saying, "Don't worry, son. Don't worry. This is natural. This is natural." You know what I mean? And he's learning. He's learning. That's why I said I'd rather have kept Perisic than that bang average Shane Long, German Shane Long, Werner. Because what is he learning?
The
What is he
German
learning?
Shane Long.
Blood. Sorry,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
dear.
I'm going there
Oh,
again.
dear.
I'm going there again.
I love it. I love
deep.
that.
That was
That's
deep.
brilliant.
That was deep.
Listen, just quickly, big up Perchy in the chat. Just quickly, listen, I've got a few super chats, a few comments I want to get to. Hopefully, if you're all good for time, stay on. If you're not, let me know and blah, blah, blah. First of all, right, I mean, look, this comment cracks me up, right? We're not defending the Werners and Greys, but we are opposed to signing finished players. You do realise Locatelli turned 26 in June. Finished. I mean,
What does a finished player mean?
What does finished mean? He's 26. Look at him. He's 26 years of age. How is he finished? Let's have a look at his heat map. Right, let's have a look at this guy who doesn't run about. Look at his heat map. He struggles. He really struggles to get about, guys. He's just
fucking lazy prick.
Look, he doesn't do enough at right back for me. Look, it's shocking.
I don't see him saving any penalties there.
This guy, by the way, right? This guy, so I'm going to call it out. This guy was in my chat the other day going, Savva, our midfield is 10 times Man United's midfield. How dare you say they'll finish above us? And I turned around to him and I said, what do you mean? And he said, Bruno Fernandes is finished now. So is he? Bruno Fernandes gets like 20 goal contributions a season and captains the side and has just got a brand new contract. Casemiro's finished. And I'm like, Mainu walks in our team. Casemiro, fit or not, walks in our team. We don't have a defensive midfielder. Bruno Fernandes walks in our midfield. What are we doing? And this guy's going, yeah, but you've got to realise this is what we're up against. All of our players are great. Everyone else's players are terrible.
I agree with you from last season, Mainu, but he needs another season. He needs another season.
But Alex, doesn't he walk into our midfield?
Yeah, from last season. But I say, because the thing is, he's had a very good season. But he needs to do better this season now. And this is the thing.
But Alex,
I get what you're saying.
But in saying that, I hear what you're saying. Because I've got to be consistent.
If he rocks up to Tottenham right now,
are
you telling me he sits on a bench behind any of our central midfielders?
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't.
Right.
On last year's performance, he's, but he needs to do it because this is now his season. His season has to be consistent now because this is where you test these youngsters now, don't you? But I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. I'm just only being consistent because I have to criticize my players, so I have to have the same consistency there.
I agree, but the difference is,
I'll take him though. I would take him.
Kobe Mainu has gone in. Let's be fair. It don't matter how bad man you are at times. It's one of the biggest clubs in world football.
Yeah,
playing in front of that crowd must be tough. He's gone in there, made himself their number one midfield choice, then gets into the England team within 6 months. Played well for England. I watched him again tonight. He's a good player. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and go, generational. Well, he's a very good midfielder with a lot going on for him. I watch him at 18. Then I watch Archie Gray play, right? That's the levels we're talking about. No offence, but I watch that and then I watch Gray. It's miles apart.
Gray has never even been in the bloody Premiership. He's never even played top.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's a bit harsh comparison because he's never played there.
No, but it's not a harsh comparison, James.
That's why you compare it. I mean,
that's not a harsh comparison. We just paid £40 million for him.
Someone comes to a job for you, yeah? Someone comes to a job for you. How do you employ him? Do you employ him on what you've seen, or do you just employ him on what could be when they've never actually had that big job?
Yeah,
or do you go employ the person who's qualified to be your assistant manager?
I think also he's got a better coach
in an ideal world, yes, of course. But there's been a hell of a lot of people that have come that no one's known about and to also perform. I'm
not denying that. But when I'm spending
so would you write off those players because you haven't seen them play in the Prem?
I would go for the player that I've seen in the Premiership and do it. I would definitely go for the player over the one that's got a chance. Now, I'm not saying Gray ain't got a chance and he could end up quality. But if I'm picking one of them two players, I'm going to look at that one and say, well, he's been very good in the Championship and he could be good in the Premiership. I've watched that one. And he's had a banging season in the Premiership, done very good for England, and I'm buying him.
But Dan, I think it's also
it's only by what you said earlier. We can only judge by what we've seen.
In my opinion, you paid 40 million, and that's over the price for Archie Gray. You're not signing Mainu for anything less than 120 million pounds. So it's a completely different conversation.
But what I'm saying is, it's a hit and hope. It is a hit and hope because we have never ever seen him play top class football. Whereas other players, when you've seen them play top class football, you can judge them on Premiership.
It's a hit and hope for us because our fucking scouting team ain't got a clue. But if you have the right people in there that actually know what they're talking about,
I
you'd
think,
like
I
to
think,
think.
I think it's just what are we trying to do? That's the thing, James. What are we trying to do? Because at the end of the day, the thing that annoys me right now, people keep on saying we need to be patient. I've been patient since 2008, the last trophy we had. Henry Wright said it perfectly. He said it perfectly 2 years ago. He said we've been building since then. Because we've not been building since
That's funny. He don't say that anymore, does
we've not
he?
been building since Pochettino because we didn't win nothing. And I love
Fucking funny.
Pochettino.
You don't say that
I love
anymore.
Pochettino, but we didn't win anything. So these people that keep on saying to me, we've been patient since 2000. We need to have patience. I'm sorry, 2008 is too long for me to be patient. I'm done. So this is the point. I haven't got time to wait and live to see another day. Seeing Tottenham telling me I've got to be patient for the next 5 years. I don't even know if I want to live that long.
Alex, I'm sorry to say this, mate, but you got no choice.
Well, no, I've got a choice. I'll just say I'm just going to say I'm not backing it at the moment. You've got to prove it to me.
Let me get some of these comments. We'll come back to the Mainu thing. First of all, again, this guy, honestly, absolute. I'll call him out. I don't care. His opinion's deluded. Did you see Bruno today? He missed like 10 chances. So what we're gonna judge Bruno on today. I've just quickly worked out, guys. Bruno Fernandes has completed four and a half seasons in the Premier League, just under 4.5. How many goals do you think he's got for Man United just in the Premier League?
I don't know.
4.5.
No idea.
I'm gonna put
40.
it out there. I was gonna say 40 actually. 40.
40?
Yeah.
James, 40?
Yes, yeah.
Dan?
I'd say round about that, 45, 50.
Bruno Fernandes in four seasons and 14 games at the end of the season he joined has scored 56 Premier League goals, right? And has 48 assists, right? That means, quick maths, that he has 106 goal contributions in just over 4 seasons for Man United. Now, my maths ain't great, but I'm making that season, just 25 a season nearly, right? And look at this. He's finished. Do you see him stay miss chances? Whatever you make of him as a footballer, the consistency levels from him are ridiculous.
He's won 2 trophies as well with this new manager as well.
But this isn't a guy that does that. This isn't a guy that one season does well and then the next season. Every year, his stats, his form is consistent. And this guy said he wouldn't get in our team.
It was Man United's worst season last season. They still won the FA Cup. The same team that beat us as well, by the way. And
do you know what his stats were last year, Alex?
What was his
35 league games. Bruno Fernandes. What do you reckon? 35 league games. What do you reckon his stats were? Goals and assists.
12 and 9.
15 goals. 10 assists maybe, or I don't know, maybe I don't know, because it wasn't a great season for Man United, wasn't it? But I don't know. He
got 10 goals and 8 assists, so he's got more than 1 in 2 from midfield on goal contributions. And this is what we've got. Locatelli isn't good enough. Bruno Fernandes isn't good enough. I'm watching Papa Sarr give the ball away every time he gets it. I'm watching Basuma do nothing. I'm watching Bentancur, sometimes good, sometimes bad, or as Jose would say, sometimes good, sometimes shit. And yet we're looking at players like this and we're mocking them. That is why our club don't win anything. We don't
get the club we deserve, Savva.
We don't know what a good player looks like. We really don't.
Savva, we don't get the club that we deserve. We get the club we deserve. And the thing is that people get angry when we say it, but unfortunately, if you're gonna continue with these youngsters that we were telling people that we should be playing last season, by the way, right? What do you expect? I mean, this is why I when I see these videos saying that we're doing this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, I don't know what they're looking at. I really don't know what they're looking at. I really don't.
That's what I said. I had a debate with some guy the other day, and I just said, look, based on what? And he was like, well, he looks good, but based on what? Well, he had 2 half-time subs. So based on 90 minutes, you're telling me this guy is going to be world-class, like based on that. And he was like, well, I'd rather be positive. I said, no, but now you're changing the conversation. Based on what?
And I don't
Like,
debate
I just want to be realistic. I like to be realistic. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of hope in you. I mean, being a Spurs supporter, if you haven't got hope in you, you've got absolutely nothing. But for me, being too hopeful and too positive is when you get hurt.
Yeah, but there's a
There's got to be
difference,
realistic limit. I'm agreeing with you. There's got to be
Yeah, no,
realistic limits.
ain't there a difference in seeing potential in someone and telling them that they're going to be world class, they're going to be the best?
Exactly.
I can say everyone we've signed, I say I can see something good in all of them. Like, but I'm not here saying right, yeah, they're all going to be Ballon d'Or winners. Yeah, this is the next Luka Modric. This is
what happens when
That-
players
that's-
come to Spurs. Even when people
Yeah.
have never heard of them, next thing you know, you see 70% of the Spurs fan base. We've snatched a deal there. We've got an epic player. We've got a brilliant player. He's going to absolutely kill it. He's much better than 5 other players that their name who we were looking at who've now gone to other clubs instead of us. Oh, no, they were too shit for us. And we go and get this. We go and get Archie Gray, who's never even played in the Premiership, and he's the next Messi, for God's sake.
That's Daniel Levy spinning the narrative. Daniel Levy's got everybody talking how he wants them to talk. Like, let's face it.
I agree.
The guy, it's like starving you for a week and then throwing someone a bit of bread. You're like, oh, fucking hell, it's bread. Like, yes. It's like,
guys,
it's like Ange saying to us that we're going to go for a title and that. That's what I said to you earlier. That is the last thing you want to concerned about defence.
I'm very concerned about
Alex,
defence.
We're going to get to that in a minute. I promise. I'm going to welcome Kuva on. No,
Big
we'll get to that in a minute. Big up Kuva. Just quickly before I bring in the man, the myth, the legend. Jay Ashraf saying, Sav, bit unfair to put Gray up against Mainu. Why? They're both 18-year-old midfielders. One, we have just paid £40 million for. If the club don't want me to compare Gray with Mainu, go and buy a better player for £40 million. I'm sorry. We can't have it both ways. People are waxing lyrical about this kid whilst I'm actually watching Kobe Mainu do it. There's a difference, right?
Yeah, but I think he's, because I agree with him. I think it's unfair to compare somebody that's had a prop, because Mainu had a wicked season last year, and Gray hasn't been given the opportunity yet.
But you were saying judge by what you see.
That's not what you were saying earlier.
James, you were saying judge by what you see, James. And we're judging by what we see.
How can I judge Gray if I've never seen him play football in the Prem?
You can judge him. You can judge him because he supposedly had how many games in the Championship, right? And did Leeds go up? Did Leeds go up in that playoff final? Did they go up?
Prem's a completely different ball game.
No. But if he's a top
Alex,
player,
you can't judge them getting promoted on one player. Like, I can't,
but I'm just saying that if he's that much of an influencer, right? If he's a big player, he influences that game.
I'll tell you what, let's put it like this, Alex.
Championship first 11. Did he get in the Championship first 11? I don't know. I'm actually asking.
I don't know.
Mainu affected Man United winning that FA Cup. So
right, let's put it this way, Alex. Let's put it this way. If Gray, and then I'm going to come to Kuva, if Gray is as good as everyone says, he should walk into our midfield, start the first game, and never lose his place.
100%.
If he's that good, let's see it. Not Kobe Mainu. Kobe Mainu was getting in last season above people like Casemiro.
Yeah.
Above, at the end of the season, people like Mason Mount. But McTominay. He actually went in and went, hang on, I'm going to be the number one midfielder here. Fair play to him. And but you can see
the point
why.
I'm making, though. The point I'm making is, though, Savva, I'm not having a go at you, James. I get your point, but the point I'm making is, right, is that Mainu had an effect on the final and the semi-final, and I think against Liverpool as well, right? He was the main guy that got them out of trouble and got them winning that FA Cup, right? If Archie Gray is that good, right, he influences that final and he gets Leeds up. That's what top players do. I'm adamant about this, because if we're going to start saying this guy is so good, right, you influence finals, you influence semi-finals, you influence main games. I'm sorry. This is where, if you're going to start saying overhyping players, why is he not influenced that and getting Leeds up, dragging Leeds up? He didn't turn up in that final, and I'm sorry. That is what makes a good player. Yeah, and Mainu, at least in his first season, has done it. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I'm adamant on it.
I'm not doubting that at all, and I'm not saying Gray's better than Mainu. I'm just saying I need to see Gray before I actually compare the two, or I don't think that's fair to compare the two when one's never played in the Prem.
Even watching him in pre-season, he don't do the things Mainu does with a football. I watched him play. He's free. Sorry, go on, Cougar. Go on, mate.
Different sort of player, in my opinion. Anyway, for me, I've watched Archie Gray quite a few times last season because we've got sort of an affiliation with some of the Leeds fans on different channel. JSY Talks Football, big up, by the way. And I did get to watch him. The player he reminded me most of was a young John Stones. He's got that kind of maturity on the ball, calmness, and he glides with it. He's very elegant sort of player. Kobe Manu, I find, is more all action, getting involved every box to box style. So I think we've got different players on our hands. I do find the argument that you can compare them directly is a little bit harsh. What I would say though is we will now see Archie Gray's first season in the Premiership, and then we could compare that with Mainu's first. That's a much fairer comparison, I think, because then you are talking about playing against players of that caliber.
I agree, Cooper. I'm just going from what I've seen.
Leeds had four players, if I just read this right, in the Championship Team of the Year. Four players, sorry. Archie Gray was not in that Championship Team of the Year. And he hasn't even played top football yet. Somerville was in that team.
Yeah, he did have some stiff competition from players from like the likes of Southampton.
Like I say,
teams coming up.
So there is question. We're going to have to see him play first before we can judge him properly. But if I have to judge right here and now, well, I've seen that player do it in the Premiership and succeed. I haven't even seen this player play top football.
Yes, it's too early. It's too early.
So
who you like them, isn't it?
But isn't that why it's unfair? Isn't that why it's unfair? You can't compare it.
No,
you've seen one, you haven't seen another.
No. At this moment in time, I can compare it through what you said earlier, for what I have personally seen. And I have seen a player at 19, if he's 19, 18, 19, Mainlu, do it in the Premiership and also do it in international football. I'm now looking at a man of the same age that has never played top football and has never played international football and didn't even make Championship Team of the Year, who got bought for 40 million. I have to judge either player right now,
did Leeds get up? Help get Leeds get up as well.
I will turn around and say, right, Mainu is the player that I go for. Why? Because from what I've seen, from what you said earlier, judging by what you see, Mainu is the better player at this moment in time. Maybe at the end of the season, Gray will end up a better player than Mainu.
I just don't get how you can compare it.
It's easy to compare it, James. I've watched Gray play last year in the Championship. He's decent. For me, he looks okay. But as soon as I think we all saw Mainu play for Man United, I think everyone, I don't know, maybe people on this panel will disagree. Whenever I watch Mainu play for Man U, I think, yeah, you're a player. With the ball. Without the ball, his positioning, how comfortable he is receiving it. He just looks so far superior in everything. I'm watching Gray in pre-season. The boy treats the football like a jack of potato. You remember, what is it, a hot potato? Every time he gets it, he gives it away. Mainu doesn't give the football away. And look, yes, I get it. We got to see him in the Premier League. But the point is, James, if he's that good, Mainu went straight into the Man U 11 and has never come out. Has he? Mainu got in because of injuries and he ain't come out.
But for me, that's a different conversation.
If you had to pick one or the other for your team right now, who would you pick?
Mainu.
Obviously, Mainu. I've never seen the other guy play. How can I compare him?
Why?
I've never seen him play.
Well, then how can you judge one that you'd want if you can't compare him?
I mean, I will big up Archie Gray, but I'd still pick Mainu.
Well, but you just said you'd have Mainu,
hasn't he?
But how can I say I'd pick one? For all I know,
but you just did. You said you'd have Mainu.
Yeah, because I wouldn't, because I don't know who he is. I've never. How can I say I'll pick a guy that I've never seen?
Now, so you've just made a judgment. You have just said the player that you would prefer. So you've just judged.
No, you was comparing the two players. That's different.
I said, who would you sign out of them two? If you could have one or the other, who would you have? And you just said Mainu.
Yeah, because I'm not a scout. I've never seen Archie Gray play. I've had my hands up. I don't know who he is.
I'll tell you what then. Let me make this fair.
Judgment.
Let me make this fair. Let's remove Archie Gray from the conversation and let's talk about a boy that has played in the Premier League. Who are you taking? Papa Sarr or Kobe Mainu?
Kobe Manu all day.
Romano. Pavasar's crap.
Right. Guys, if Archie Gray don't get in the team above Papa Sarr,
Agreed. But this is what
Fair
we were
point.
saying earlier, isn't it? This is
Right.
we want to see it. This is what we were saying earlier.
But the thing is, though, I think the thing that we're trying to make out at the moment is that, unfortunately, he's coming to the Lions' den right now, Archie Gray. Yeah, we ain't got time. So, unfortunately, I think from this panel, which is quite clear, some of us are patient, some of us are not. He's coming to the Lions' den, and he's gonna have to hit the ground running straight away. Unfortunately, and I blame some of the fan base that are.
But do you
I'm
know
not blaming
why,
anybody on this
Alex?
panel. I'm not blaming any of this panel because I don't think you're silly. You're not silly, but the people that were overhyping him, I think, unfortunately, he's put a lot of pressure on him. That's why I think Locatelli right now would be good for our team right now, to be honest with you, because I think he needs somebody. He needs a leader right now, just to have a little bit of a word, just to keep his feet on the ground at the moment. You know what I mean?
But Alex, we can't have it both ways as fans, right? Nearly all our fan base is hyping up Archie Gray unbelievably.
Yeah.
They did from day one. Oh my God, we've just signed one of the best young players in the country. I don't know how they know that, but they've said it, right? Archie Gray, 40 million. I saw Jamie O'Hara today on TalkSport.
Oh, he's
someone
embarrassing.
phoned up. Yeah, no, I know he is, but someone phoned up TalkSport and it was like, I don't think we're strong enough. And he went, what do you mean? We've just signed Archie Gray and Solanke. So people are using his name as top signing. Spurs decided our scouting team, Ange, our scouting team, and our director of football decided that this kid was worth £40 million. So yes, I can from day one say, go on then. As a club, we decided that's where our midfield budget was going. It was going on Archie Gray. So why am I not going to judge Spurs against that? Whether that's harsh on Archie Gray, I don't know. But we spent 40 million. Now, Bergvall cost how much?
8.5, something like that.
8.5. 10 million, right? Let's just say 10 million, Kuva. You bring in an 18-year-old for 10 million and you go, 4, right? Yeah, 10 million.
But,
if it works,
I think he's better as well. I think he's got
mate,
everything.
Watch him and watch Gray. One looks like I'm not saying he's going to start every game. One looks like if he started a game, I wouldn't go, oh my God, he's starting. Gray just looks like a nervous wreck when I see him play.
He got destroyed against Bayern Munich. Absolutely destroyed.
Twice.
In that last game, he lost that ball more than 10 times. And then people say, yeah, but he fights to get the ball back. Yeah, he shouldn't be losing the ball 10 times within one half, you know? But again, he's only 18. He's only a starter. But you can only judge on what you've seen. Like you said, James, and like we made the decision, you made the decision, others said it. Who would you pick here and now, Mainu or Gray? You go for Mainu because right here and now, up to this moment in precise time that we are talking, Mainu has been the better player. We haven't even seen Gray play in the Premiership, so you wouldn't take the chance with him. You go for the better player who is proven better right here and now, not the one who could be better in 2 seasons.
I want to ask Kuva a question.
Quality here and now. That's what
I want to ask Kuva a question. Look, we've got a lot of people saying things like this, like Gray will have a good season. Gray will prove us wrong.
I hope he does.
Right, but hang on. By proving us wrong, again, really subjective, like we talked about earlier. Prove us wrong how? Like, what does he need to do to prove people wrong? Kuva, I'm going to ask you this question. In your mind, do you think it would have been more sensible for a young player like Gray, no matter what the cost, for us to have signed him and said, play one more year at Leeds?
Yeah.
Play
absolutely.
one more year at Leeds, have 50 games in all competitions. By that time, you'll be 19. Go and put on a bit more weight because he looks very lightweight. Go and play. And then by the time he comes back,
Skip off on loan with him as well to see if they can
right.
See if he can teach Skip how to play.
Yeah, but that's what I would have done, Kuva, because now the pressure is one. How does he get in above Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr?
That's the test, isn't it? That's
right.
how you see if you're going to get 40 million quid worth of player, isn't it? He's got to step up and perform. That's all there is to it.
Whether that's fair or not, don't even come into it. Life ain't fair. I should be able to sit in my front door open and my car door open, but I bloody can't. Why? Because life's a bitch.
No, agree. And that's the only reason. Would everyone else on the panel have sent him somewhere for a year?
Yeah.
To guarantee 50 games a season?
I think
he needed. It worked with
I think Leeds would have loved that. I think Leeds would have loved that because that would have just given him, they would have kept a good player for them, and it would have helped them towards their target of going back up again, isn't it? So, and he would have got more experience as well because Daniel Farker absolutely loves him, doesn't he? So,
whereas now he might come to Spurs.
It makes more sense, but I just think we've just put and like I said, the fan base have put a lot of pressure on him, a lot of pressure on him.
Coming to Spurs, starting 5 games in a season, possibly if he's lucky, not cup games, league games. If anything, doesn't that hold a player back? Doesn't that slow a player's progression down?
But again, this is where we're saying, this is what we said earlier. Let's see how big your balls are, Ange Postecoglou. If you wanted this guy to put him in, Basuma has been shit for a season, and he's now in trouble with bits and pieces that he's doing behind the scenes. So if he doesn't come and bring him in and put him straight into the first team, or he's knocking on the door for the next few games' time, then I say, well, what's the fucking point? Then he should have gone out on loan. But for me personally, I haven't seen nothing from Basuma all last season to state why Archie Gray wouldn't get in.
But Basuma, he's surely up to the Ballon d'Or this season, isn't he?
But he is better than him. Whatever we think of Basuma, he is better than Archie Gray. I'm sorry, there's got to be a level of common sense to this. Do I think Basuma is consistent? No. Do I think that Ange Postecoglou plays him in the wrong position? Yes. But I'm not being funny. There's no world at the moment for me, only for Richard Savva, where I start Archie Gray above Yves Basuma. I'm sorry, there just isn't. Physicality, driving forward with the ball, recoveries. I'm sorry. I just don't see it.
The annoying thing is, Basuma is our best midfielder significantly, in my opinion, by what he is actually physically capable of doing as a player. But his mentality has just gone to shit, basically. His mentality has just gone right downhill. And he's lost the mentality for it. Maybe he's too sure of himself. Maybe whatever's happened. Maybe he's just more bothered about buying a new Parada bag. I don't know. But the way he was at Brighton and the way he used to boss that midfield at Brighton against some of the biggest clubs, and I've said it 100 times, I'll say it again, Liverpool was willing to put in a 70 million bid for him, but they wanted 85 million, if I remember right on the numbers. Basuma is a quality player, but his mentality, it's like what you said earlier, James. You got to have the brain for the football as well.
For me, this is where I'm different. I don't get why people would pick Basuma over Archie Gray in the respect of I've seen Basuma for a year or two and he's been absolute dog shit. I don't need to see any more.
No, I could understand the manager doing it. I could understand the manager doing it.
James, you have confessed in this show to not having seen Archie Gray play.
No, but I've seen Basuma play. I've seen enough.
Hang on. That can't be a thing, can it? Archie Gray should start over Basuma. Why? Well, I've seen Basuma play. I've not seen Gray play.
So should we just keep going around in the same circle and making the same mistake of playing the same shit players?
But you don't know. What does Gray do? Okay, I'll ask you this question. What does Gray do better than Basuma?
I don't know yet, but I'm happy to give him a go.
So how can you say he should start in front of him? That makes no sense. In what world? We're just making things up now, aren't we?
Well, no. So do we never start anyone new because we don't know what they're good at? We don't know. So just leave them always on the bench.
I get where you're coming from. No, I'm pretty much.
Everyone needs a chance. Manu at one point was given that one chance, and he went, "You know what? I'm going to take this."
Yeah,
we've had 2 years of shit from this guy, and yet we're still saying he should start.
It hasn't been 2 years of shit. He started last season brilliantly. Right?
All right, 4 good games or whatever it was.
Well, it wasn't 4, was it? After 10 games, everyone was saying that Basuma was better than Rice and Spurs were going to win a bloody league title. Now it's 4 games.
That's them and not me. That's them and not me.
We nearly did it, Cooper. We were just 25 points away. We were 9 wins away from winning the title. But look, surely if you're going to champion a player to play over another player, I'm all for it, right? I'm all for saying mix it up. But you've got to know that the player coming in is ready. What I've seen from Archie Gray in pre-season, I've seen that this looks like a very shaky footballer on the ball. Now, when he looked decent was when he played centre half against Hearts and QPR, where we had all the ball and he had no defending to do, right? He looked good on the ball. We have all the ball. He can play the quarterback, spray pass. That's fine. Most people could do that. The games I saw him going to midfield, I thought he was awful against the K-League All-Stars. I thought against Bayern Munich, he looked completely in over his head. He looked
destroyed.
And it's not his fault. He's a kid. But he looked completely not ready. Then he came on against Bayern at the weekend. And do you know that it works out that 8.5 times he gave the ball away?
I think it's more than that.
8.5 times he gave...
How'd you get 0.5 giving the ball away?
I don't know.
It's thought about making the pass and changed his mind.
But I do
Either
agree
way,
with James to a bit, though. You know what? If Basuma's being that bad, then give Gray a go in there, yes? I do get where you're coming from. And do you know what? I wouldn't blame it if the manager did it. I'm 50-50
this isn't Sunday. One. This isn't Sunday League. This isn't Sunday League. This isn't, my mate's not been playing well. Go on, you go in, son. See how you do. This is a Premier League club that are talking about trying to compete for the Champions League.
But if we're a youth team, if we're going for the youth team side and Ange wants to do youth team, then go and do it. Like we said earlier.
So you would just keep playing? Would you just keep playing Basuma until what?
I'd play Basuma over Gray all day, every day. I'd play Basuma over Gray. I would, if I'm going to pick anyone, I'm playing Gray over Papa Sarr.
Yeah, I'd play Gray over both after what I saw last season, to be honest.
But I just don't understand how we can say that when you've not seen him play football. I don't get
No, because for me, I believe that when they're youth like that, they have to be given a chance or a chance to prove himself. Otherwise, we'll forever be going, well, no, he's showed us nothing, he's proved nothing, so we'll just leave him out. Because eventually they need their chance. Mainu, when Mainu first come in, do you think they went, oh, well, you know, this kid's the bollocks? No, they went, here's your chance, mate.
No. Mainu went in through injuries, mate. Mainu went in through necessity. At the moment, Gray isn't going in through necessity. Gray's got players. We've got a fully fit squad. Right? The only player that can't play on Monday, I believe, is Basuma. Funnily enough, all this conversation, he's the only one that can't play because he's suspended, right? But Mainu didn't suddenly jump over all these Man U midfielders.
So what if Archie Gray comes in and as a worldie for the first, hypothetically, as a worldie first game?
Fantastic.
I think he should do because that's his level. Leicester City, that should be his level. The midfielders he'll be playing against will be the ones he played against last year.
I think that's really harsh because I think you've moved the goalposts a little bit because you've said Mainu's come in because he had to. All right, well, Archie Gray could come in because he had to. And then you go, well, no, now he should be. I think that's a little bit harsh.
Listen to what I said, James. You've only said half of what I said. Against Leicester City, I would think any of our midfielders should play and run that game. Leicester City are awful. Speak to any Leicester City fan right now. Their club is awful. Their club has Harry Winks in central midfield.
I get what you're saying. But say, like I said, say he comes in and has a worldie and runs the midfield, pulls the strings. Do you then drop him for Basuma again? That's what I'm saying. So you've got to start. I can see where
you're both coming from here. I totally get Savva's point, but I 100% get your point as well. And I think they're actually quite fair points on both sides.
We're just not a serious club.
We're
not a serious club. Let's just give him a go. Let's just give him a go. It don't matter if he's better than the player he's replacing. Just give him a go. You've got to earn it. You've got to earn that.
Yeah, this is surely the point of having training pitches, isn't it? It's they prove to the manager that they're up for it on that pitch and then earn their chance.
I agree, but has he earned it in pre-season?
No.
Yeah, it's all part of it.
No, I'm asking, from his performances in the last 3 games in pre-season, has he earned a start
in
the Premier League?
I don't think he's ready yet, no.
No.
What about Bergville, though? Would you say how Bergville was played? Does he deserve a start, or does he deserve a 30-minute sort of thing? I would say Bergville has looked better than Gray.
I think he's got a bit of arrogance about him, which I've got to give it to him.
He looks natural on the ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just looks natural, and I think he doesn't mind making mistakes because he think he'll learn from it and just get the ball back and still.
And he doesn't mind the physical side either, does he, Alex?
No, he doesn't mind it. Yeah, I mean, I still need to give it time. I don't want to go over the top about him, but I can see a little bit of arrogance about him, and I think that's good for the team. I'm sorry, we've got too many nice players. I've said it how many times.
With Bergville, it's so far so good. You've seen him, and he's done a couple of things to stand out for the right reasons. Whereas Gray, in my opinion, has done a couple of things to stand out for the wrong reasons.
I agree.
He's done one or two good things, but he's done more to stand out.
I haven't seen him do anything that makes me go, yeah. Like, I might be being harsh. I've not seen anything in any of the games where I've gone, that's why we bought him. Now, that's early doors. It's pre-season. But Bergvall, when he gets on the ball, different type of player. But you can see it. I'm not saying start him, but you can see. Cooper, you know, if I was to say, like, when someone's just got it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like it comes second nature to Bergvall. When he's got the ball, he looks comfortable and in full flow. Archie Gray, for me, looks like a scared kid when he gets the ball. That's just a nice
guy then. That's a nice guy, Savva. That's just a nice guy. He looks like a guy in the headlights.
He just looks like a kid.
He looks like a kid that has got. He's there in the headlights, and he's just coming to the big school, and he doesn't know where his friends are. That's what he's looking at at the moment.
It's like with a player as well. You can usually, I'd say, tell the difference between a player that has just got it naturally and a player that has had to train hard to what he gets. Look at Beckham. Beckham weren't a natural footballer, not at all. Beckham got that good because he made himself that good. Beckham got that good at free kicks because he used to spend every day and every night sitting in the back garden kicking balls through bloody car tyres. He made himself that good. Whereas you get other players out there, they improve themselves. But I use Messi just as an example. You can tell he just had it naturally. Anyone could have trained as much as they want, and they would just never have been able to get what he could do without even training. He just had it. Some people just have things naturally. Other people have to work 10 times harder to even get close to what that person has got naturally.
I think the problem
Bergvall on the ball he actually looks quite natural on the ball, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But we've only seen a little bit of him.
I think the biggest problem we seem to have at the moment is we look at that midfield. We've got Bentancur, who used to be a big time player for us before he got his injury. It's not been the same since. Bissouma started off brilliantly for us last season, fell off the edge of the cliff, not been the same since. Maddison started off brilliantly, not been the same since. Mm-hmm. We're talking 3 players, our first team starters. Now we're looking at people replacing them. I'm not going to get on Gray's back about it if he does get in the team and he struggles a little at first, because I do happen to think there's a player in there that we're going to enjoy seeing in a few seasons' time. But
that's it.
I think there's different levels in there.
That sentence there. In a few seasons' time. I'm not. By the way, I'm not sitting here saying I don't think
it could be this season. I don't know, mate.
Sure.
But there's different levels, isn't there? And I agree with Dan totally. Bergvall, for me, is ready right now. For me, I'd have no hesitation putting him in the team. I absolutely love what I'm seeing about this bloke. He's got a bit of everything. Got a bit of devil in him as well. I love that. Arrogance, as Alex likes to point out.
Bergvall.
Sorry?
Bergvall, you talking about?
Bergvall, yeah.
He's
absolutely ready. Yeah. Mikey Moore, I think, is an exceptional talent. So the only one I've ever seen at Spurs Academy come through where I thought, wow. I didn't even see that with Ledley King.
Look at Harry Kane. Harry Kane had to teach himself to get where he was. He was not naturally gifted like that at all. He's not a naturally gifted footballer. He earned his right to be like that. He trained and trained and trained to get like that. Other players, they have just got things natural. And like you're saying, that Bergvall, only by what we've seen so far, which isn't much, but he just looks very natural on the ball. Whereas Gray, like I said, he just looks like mentally, if anything, he's not quite ready for it yet.
I think they've done a stupid thing right now with Archie Gray. I really do. I think the fan base has not helped it, and I think we're putting ourselves in a position now where, top teams don't do this. They don't do this. You're either good enough or you're not good enough, and you just they either put them on loan so they can just get them out of the pressure, because in top teams you've got to deal with pressure, and unfortunately this sort of pressure will make a young player crumble. We've got the history already to show it.
Like Brighton just bought in Osman. Brighton just brought in that young player Osman, who's 18, 19, sent him straight out to Feyenoord on loan.
Because
He'll go and have a year, and then they'll bring him back, and then he'll be ready for next season. I agree, Alex.
Saliba went out for 2 years, didn't he?
Exactly, because the thing is, though, it's just about dealing with pressure. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, people need to get with it with life. Unfortunately, if you're going to go in life and go into a job, you've got to hit the ground running straight away. You've got to get back to reality. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
But isn't this it? Isn't this it, guys? For me, this is everything. When we've seen Basuma at his best, like when he was running games for Brighton, he was not playing as a number 6. He is not a number 6. Unfortunately, because we've built the squad so lopsided like we normally do, we don't have a number 6. And Basuma, because he's the one with the energy and the engine and the tracking back and the recoveries, he ends up playing as our number 6. And then people go, oh, he's not good enough. He's not a number 6. He's not a defensive midfielder. That's not his game.
Whereas Bentancur is a number 6.
I don't think none of them are a number 6.
I don't think none of them are.
Bentancur played it for nearly 4 years straight, and he was very good at it. But the difference with his number 6 role at Juventus was it was a mix between a DM and a deep line playmaker.
Yeah.
But he's the closest thing we've got now to an out-and-out DM. He's, apart from now we've got rid of Højbjerg, Bentancur is the only natural, if you want to call it, DM we've got.
And by the way, this I completely agree with. This is why I don't think he's ready quite yet, Mikhail, because I don't even think Spurs thought he was ready yet. We weren't in for this guy. Then Brentford made a bid and we panicked and went, hang on. It's a bit like, but at a lesser standard. Do you remember, guys, when we bid for Luis Diaz? And then Liverpool went, oh, we didn't want him till the summer. Oh, shit. Okay. Bang.
We'll have him now.
Yeah. And that's why I've said all summer, for me, I don't know what you think, Cooper. I'm interested to get your details on this. We're only going to go for another 5-10 minutes max. But Cooper, I've said I've kind of likened this transfer window to what I would expect for a team in 9th to 14th. So far, lots of kids, one good player in Solanke, one lone player in Werner who splits for me, that is what I think.
It's a Brentford build, isn't it?
It's a Brentford. Yeah, this feels like what Brentford or Brighton would do. They
literally said this is going to be the plan, didn't they? It's going to be data-driven signings. Yeah. That's what Brentford have been doing. It's the money.
Even saying Solanke's going to walk into the first team based on what? Like, there's an argument. No, yeah, but there's an argument there, though, isn't there? It's not like he walks into the first team, no strings attached.
I think he's got to. He does for me.
He does for me. But what I'm saying is, there's an argument. Like, you know, like for me, if you signed Openda or Gyökeres, there's no argument. You're talking of he's not walking.
Who instead of him?
Instead of who?
But you're saying that there's an argument that he doesn't. Oh, he's gone. He's back.
In. Solanke gets in, but say like Richarlison's here, Solanke's like here. Whereas I want somebody that's going to be here.
I see what you mean.
There is going to be people that go, right? Is he better? Or maybe a little bit. Whereas I wanted someone to come in and go, first team improvement, we're here, we're up here now, rather than go, we'll get by.
Do you know their stats? If they, do you know, this is interesting. Their stats, if you averaged it out per minute last season, Richarlison actually had a better year. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I know that's mental. I'm not saying he's a better player. I'm just saying it's crazy. He played I think Richarlison played something like 1,400 minutes of football. Great. Solanke played 3,300.
It was that one spell, wasn't it? About 9 goals in 10 games.
Yeah. But if you look at Solanke, someone showed it the other day that if you actually look at his back end of the season form, it wasn't actually.
Oh, don't say this.
I'm just saying I'd start him. But again, Kuva, we talked about earlier in the show that when you look at those 6 signings that have come in, the fact that we've all just argued about whether Gray or Bergvall should start. Yang's not here yet. No one, I don't think, on this panel thinks Werner should start. Right? I don't think Odobert should be starting. It leaves you with Dominic Solanke. So from this, window's been brilliant. We've got one starter It's mad, Kuva.
None of our wingers are good enough. I'm sorry. I'm fed up with people bigging it up. I'm sorry, no. And then the thing that winds me up about Spurs fans, yeah, everyone wanted Neto, yeah. Some people saying about his injuries, and that's it. He goes to Chelsea. He said, "Oh, we didn't want him. We didn't want him." And I'm like, "You mad? Are you mad?"
I said all along, I wouldn't pay 10 million for him.
I said that as well.
What, Neto?
But I get Alex's point. Most of our fan base wet themselves over Neto. And what I found really funny, James, is, you know, when you see the same people with the same opinions every day in your chat, right? I saw people that when I said, look, I love Neto as a footballer, but you can't buy him because of his injury prone. James, you can imagine the shit I got. You don't know a player. It's worth the risk. The moment Chelsea signed him, James, all of those people went from, we didn't want him anyway, he's too injury prone. And now it's Odobert's better than Neto.
Yeah.
It's just like...
No, this is... I was on Brian's channel, and he said to me, how much would you pay for him? And I said, I wouldn't pay... I'd sign him for £10 million. And he was like, why? I was like, the guy is fucking injured. You'd get 5-10 games max out of him. Max. Why am I going to spend 50-60 million on him? And if he does play more, that's a gamble. That's like throwing all your money on red and going, let's hope he plays more, because there's no proof in the pudding.
Watch him not be injured for Chelsea. Like you watch him be fit for Chelsea now.
Yeah, typical.
The thing is that Chelsea could get away with him being injured because they've got so many players that can play in that position. Whereas if he came to Spurs, he would have been our best out-and-out winger. And look, also, Savva, you've got to look at our medical team. If he was fucked before, he's going to be leaving with one arm, one leg, fucking 3 ribs. You know what I mean? They're just going to start taking parts of his body off, going, no, you'll be all right next week. 6 years later. I am going to end the show in a minute. I do want to get to some super chats that I should have read out hours ago. Sorry, this one's from like 2 hours ago or an hour ago. Mika Johnson has just said Spurs have the worst squad in the top 8. Well, we'll find out depending on where we finish this season, Mika. Thank you so much for your super chat. He's come back in and said Osimhen to Chelsea, Rodrigo to City, Gyökeres to Arsenal. I can see the first one happening. I can see Gyökeres to Arsenal. If we're talking about Rodrigo from Real Madrid, I can't see that happening. But if Man City pulled that off, Man City can afford it, but I'm not sure why Rodrigo would want to leave Madrid. But listen, I agree with you. Look, they're shopping in different. We're shopping in Aldi, mate. They're shopping in Harrods. Like it's completely different supermarkets where we're shopping. Big up to you, Mika. A super chat that came in here from Ethan Bates. Big up, Ethan. I hope you're well. Said, I reckon our final signing might be Rabiot on a free. Fits the Levy model and the all-action number 8 everyone is talking about. Again, Rabiot, for me, walks into our team. Whatever you think of him as a player, I think our midfield is that wayward that I think Rabiot walks in. Problem is, you've got to cope with his mum. And I don't mean that in a horrible way.
Didn't he turn us down before, though?
So what? We can't be choosy, mate. We can't be choosy. We've got a crap midfield.
But we surely have our fill of overpaid prima donnas coming here and who don't really care, haven't we?
Well, we've got loads of them now that still get raved about.
Yeah, fair.
Do you know what I mean? By the way, Phil P was in the chat. He just said, question, with the last 2 signings, why couldn't we have done these deals in June? Does this mean they were? And again, this is everything, Phil, because Solanke, no one said it. No one said his name. And then all of a sudden, the Paul O'Keefes, the Alistair Golds, they all started coming out with, we've been in talks since June. Yeah, they were thumbs upping Fabrizio Romano. And you think, hang on, none of you mentioned him. And certainly if Odobert was a player you wanted, yes, he's been at the Olympics, but there were players signed before the Olympics that then went to the Olympics. Elise springs to mind, right? So we could have got that done. Big up to you, Phil. And yes, all summer people have talked about Eberechi Eze. And today his release clause did expire, which now means that if anyone wants Eberechi Eze, Crystal Palace can turn around and say 90.
2-1.
Give us 90 or you're not getting him. So, look, I don't know what that tells you about the state of the market, whether or not people don't have that money, but big up to you guys. Look, I want to say thank you so much. Kuva always makes the last 10 minutes. He's never match fit for 90, but he comes on in the last 10 and bangs in a hat-trick.
Can I give one quick last thought?
Of course.
If the likes of Maddison, Bissouma, Bentancur were all on form last season and they were in our starting 11 on a regular basis, we wouldn't even be bothered about what's happening with Archie Gray.
Yeah, true.
We said this earlier. Yeah, we said
Agreed.
this about Locatelli. We did say this.
Kuvi just hit the nail on the head. And we haven't even spoken about the defense. We haven't even spoken about the defense today. And I'm worried. I am worried about that defense now. I am really.
Here we go. Let's go for another round.
No. You got it in the show. You got it in the show.
You've got to help me out, though. We've got to help me out here on a quick vote, though. Do I go Happy Clapper this season or do I go Levy out? Because I don't give a toss either way, to be honest. Does
it matter?
No.
Does it matter? If you go Happy Clapper, you're not winning anything. And if you go Levy out, he's not leaving. Beth would like us to go for another couple of hours. It seems just kidding, Beth, just kidding. We'll send him back to you right now. Guys, listen, first of all, thank you, Kuva. Thanks, James. Really, really enjoyed it. I love this sort of a panel. We haven't all agreed on stuff and had really good debate, kept it clean. Thank you, James, for coming on. Alex, love it. We've moved away from Haaland is an overrated John Carew. We've now moved to Timo Werner is a German Shane Long.
I rated Shane Long over Timo Werner.
Yeah, me too.
There's levels to this. That is one of those levels. If we buy Shane Long right now, that is the big step that I'm after.
Do you know what, James? If we sign Shane Long right now, some of our fans would find a way. We go, perfect Ange ball player. Do you know what I mean? What is fucking Ange ball? Anyway, I'm not getting into that. Guys, girls, thank you. Most people in the chat have been impeccably behaved tonight, which is lovely. Guys and girls, please do subscribe. I'm only 19 away from 13,200. Please subscribe to Mr. Box Office. Subscribe to the Hotspur Hood. Subscribe to the Free Spurs Boys. James hasn't got a channel, but just subscribe to looking at his face every now and then when he does come on a channel. Much love. Smash the like button. I will be doing nothing on YouTube tomorrow. I'm having a complete day off. And then Monday, I'll be back with a live watch along. And I'm going 4-0. Just quickly, I'm going 4-0 because I think Leicester are crap and have no centre forwards. James?
Is that an Archie Gray hat-trick? Is that what you're trying to say to us?
yeah. Archie Gray hat trick and Bergvall with a fourth. Yeah. No,
I'd say I don't think it's going to be like that. Maybe 2-1, 3-1, but even 3-1 is going to be like a close 3-1. It's going to be like a 2-1 till the last minute and nick a.
He does that a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
3-1. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 3-1. Danny.
I was saying 2-2, but now that they got certain players and that missing, I'd say we'd do it 2-1 because I just can't see us doing a game without conceding. I think we had one clean sheet in about 25 games at the end of last season, wasn't it? Something like that. So 2-1 Spurs I'm going to go for. I was saying 2-2, but now they got that many players missing, 2-1 Spurs.
Yeah, Alex, who are you going for? Bearing in mind, Leicester City don't have a single striker at the club at the moment.
3-1 Tottenham.
I didn't even know that.
Tottenham.
Yeah, well, Iheanacho just left. Jamie Vardy is out injured. And Patson Daka is out for 3 or 4 months, I believe. So they've got no centre forward to play. So they'll have to play either a kid or
Harry Winks.
Harry Winks up front.
With some of the chances they get,
I'm changing my opinion. 3-0 Leicester. Harry Winks hat-trick.
3-0 Leicester. What odds would you get on 3-0 Leicester? Harry Winks to get
against
Spurs, it's kind of just fell on Tottenham's lap, hasn't it? This game, then, isn't it? It's just fell on Tottenham's lap, hasn't it?
Oh, of course it is. But you've got to make the most of it while it's there, right? We've got to put them to the sword.
What if we lose?
If we lose, oh my God, it'll be awful. Alex, what score did you go for?
3-1. It would have
3-1.
been funny if we lost because then we would have got. Well, no, we got our right wing, haven't we? I forgot that. Okay, cool.
Kuva, by the way, I do agree with this. This is my one concern, is that we will play so high up the pitch and Mavadidi and Fatawu, who I do like, could get to us. I just don't know if they've got a goal scorer. Kuva, finish the show off. What's the score going to be?
Hang on. Heads. That's Happy Clapper. 7-3. The quad is on.
7-3. He's not playing, is he? No. 7-3. Solanke with all
Archie
7.
Archie Gray with 7.
Archie Gray with 7. Guys, girls, thank you very much for coming on. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much. Please smash the like button. Please subscribe. I am going to bed. I am shattered after today. Take care. See you later. And as always, come on, you Spurs.